This video is intended for educational purposes only. I have spent the better part of the last year posting videos on YouTube of me cooking with my own cum, and it's all because of this book. Now, almost a year since posting that first video, I have given myself the dubious mission of going through every single recipe. It's a stupid and grueling task for a very strange guy. But first, in case you're new here, who am I? Hi everybody. If you're new here, A, I am incredibly sorry, and B, yes, you heard that correctly. You probably have some questions just from looking at this, so let me get a few of them cleared up right off the bat.
Who the fuck is this guy?
My name's Enrico, you could just call me N. I am primarily a Vtuber, which means that I am someone who uses an anime avatar to stream himself playing video games very poorly over on twitch.tv.
What the hell is that book?
I would say a little under a year ago, one of my viewers actually gifted me this book, which is called Natural Harvest, a collection of semen-based recipes by Fotie Photenhauer. And for a couple months, that's pretty much all it was, just this novelty that I had in my apartment, never really considering ever making one of these recipes because who the fuck would ever do that? Right? And then around the time spring was turning to summer, I just remember I was going through a really bad depression. And so in a fit of depression, I did what any person would do in my situation. I decided to make a cum smoothie and upload it to YouTube. Oh God, I taste it. This was around the time that I was starting to use TikTok or trying to learn how to use TikTok, and so I took like 5 or 10 second clips from that video and I would post them to my TikTok, and lo and behold, they blew the fuck up. So yeah, I am now known as the VTuber who eats his own cum.
What the hell is wrong with you?
You might be asking yourself, very rightfully, why the fuck would anyone want to do that? I didn't want to keep making these like slapdash videos every week of me cooking one of the recipes in the book. And so with being incredibly curious about both Photenhauer and with kind of also wanting to put a cap on making more semen cookbook videos, I've decided to embark on a month-long process of making every single recipe in this book. But before all that, we got to talk to Photenhauer, and as luck would have it, as I was starting to work on this video, he was going around online promoting his new book, Semen Cosmetics. You have to understand, I've been trying to get in contact with Paul ever since I started making these videos. His Twitter isn't active as of the last couple years aside from some automated bot tweets. His YouTube is completely defunct. His website is no longer operational. And so my final lead was just his email, which was listed across his social media, kind of sending him a message every couple weeks, hoping for a bite, and not getting a response at all. That is, until now. We fucking got him.
Hi.
I was so nervous to do this interview, by the way, but
Me too.
I guess like because I have like a million questions and
Let's do it.
The first thing you need to know about Paul Photenhauer is that he is an extremely likable guy. He is just so humble and kind. We actually went overtime in our initial interview because we were just having so much fun talking to each other. Like I'm known as the cum guy within a certain community that I'm a part of.
You and I can do like a support group. Hi, my name is Paul. I'm a semenaholic.
Hi, my name's Enrico. I'm a semen hall. I'm going to sprinkle in little bits and pieces of my interview with Paul throughout this video, including topics such as why the hell he made this book and what he's learned from the reception and stuff. Can you tell us a little bit about yourself?
I'm 43 years old. I always keep forgetting how old I am. I feel like I'm 80. I work in the medical field. I hate writing.
So what kind of reputation do you have among your friends? Like, how are you perceived among them?
My closest friends are gay as well. Not to say that all my friends are gay or that all of them support or are even the least bit enthusiastic about eating semen. I have, like everyone else, like a closer circle of friends
Right.
that are very supportive. And when experimenting with the recipes, I mean, I wouldn't eat semen for someone I don't know or wouldn't be willing to have sex with. I hope that goes for most people. We have had, dinner parties where we've had a lot of semen in the dishes, but that's not like random people off the street. I did get a request early when the book was first published. I got some requests from people who wanted to invite me to semen orgies. Yeah, and I was like, no.
What was the main motivating factor for you to have made this book?
This is like not quite 20 years ago, but like 15. I was at a dinner party, we were drinking everything, mixed people, of any orientations. And then the discussion was, as a male, like you're pleasantly surprised and sometimes expect your partner to swallow during oral sex. People had different opinions on that. Then I was like, so how many of you have tasted, like if you expect someone else to swallow your cum, you should be able to taste it yourself, I mean, I thought that was logical. But then when I asked the question, the response was like, ew, that's gross. Like, I'm like, wait a second, John. You want to come in somebody's mouth and you want them to swallow, but you're not willing to taste it. Like, come on. From that discussion, I was fascinated with, why is that so vile, And then I just started thinking about it, and then I can't explain exactly what I don't know, but I started getting like sort of fascinated with it. And then I started experimenting in the kitchen. First thing I did, I made tiny little omelets. And the whole idea with that was semen kind of looks like egg whites. So I just whisked them up, put them in a Teflon pan, and voila, tiny, tiny little yolkless egg whites made of semen. And then I realized, like, whoa. Semen, I mean, eggs are used in the kitchen a lot. So why not semen? So that's where it started. And then I started playing around with more like sort of, okay, so this is how it, how it behaves in a frying pan. But what happens with acidity, oils, sugar? I mean, producing semen is not the worst activity on earth.
Before all this, did you have any kind of like culinary experience?
No, zero. I've always liked to cook, but culinary skills would be an overstatement.
Same, actually. I can't cook or bake to save my life.
I'm planning to do every single recipe in this book. Like
Crazy. I want you to make it. I want to see you try everything.
So let's do this very systematically. I'm going to try my best to abide by all the instructions and measurements that Paul has laid out in the book.
The drinks in the Natural Harvest book, those are fun to play with because they're so easy. They're fun because even somebody who doesn't cook that much, they can still make a cocktail. It's not rocket science.
I think you vastly underestimate just how incompetent I am, but let's do this.
The smoothie, semen does react to acids. There's kiwi in the high protein smoothie. They can be very sweet, but they can also be very acidic. Semen and acid are not always best friends. But semen and banana is great.
So this recipe calls for 1 cup of diced kiwi and 1 ripe banana. Please don't mind how mushy the bananas look. They've just been sitting out here for like 20 minutes as I went to prepare the other ingredients. 1 cup of soy milk. I don't actually have soy milk. This is unsweetened almond milk, but I'm sure the difference is minimal. And some ice cubes. There's no unit of measurement for this one, so I'm just going to assume it's however many you want to whatever consistency of the smoothie that you want. And of course, we can't forget 1 to 3 tablespoons of semen. I got one of these like shot glasses that actually measures how many milliliters and tablespoons and teaspoons there are. And I'm sad to say that I've only produced a half a tablespoon for today's smoothie. So the recipe's simple. Just throw everything inside the blender and liquefy.
Okay, so this was my first recipe and I was still figuring out what I was going to do editing-wise, and I think that I had this idea that I would be narrating over this footage, but I kind of abandoned that idea in later recipes. So here's like 30 unedited seconds of me making this smoothie in complete silence.
Oh God. So here it is. It looks a lot better than my first attempt. I can't believe that's been over half a year already. I will say this is a good first recipe, if only because Paul recommends experimentation. I mean, in general, Paul recommends experimentation with all these recipes. But even in the chef's note in the book, he says this is a great drink to experiment with, mostly with different types of fruits. But we're doing everything by the book today. I'm not afraid to try this, if only because I've already done this before. I'm expecting just a regular smoothie with a semen aftertaste. So, bottoms up, folks. Why is it so thick? Hold on, it's not reaching my mouth for some reason. Hey. Oh God, it's there. Oh yeah, never mind. I was about to say I don't get the aftertaste like I did last time, but it's definitely there. Oh yeah, wow. Why am I doing this? Oh wait, shit. Why am I drinking it straight from the thing? I want this to look very palatable for the final video. Doesn't that look so appetizing? Wouldn't you drink this, not suspecting anything else? I will say I took a few sips before I went to take some photos of the drink, and it's still clinging to the throat. That there's still that phenomenon there, and I feel like that's going to be a recurring theme throughout this video. But cheers, everyone. Bottoms up. In the past, it felt more like you were tasting or eating something completely mundane, and then the semen flavor just kind of gets Trojan horsed in. That's not the case with this one. You do get that aftertaste, and it does cling to the throat, but it's really not as heavy as it was before, if only because I probably didn't use as many ice cubes as I should have before. So yeah, that was my fault. And I just love how completely commonplace this has become for me, that this does not faze me at all. I'm sure for a lot of people who are familiar with my channel, this is not even, it doesn't even register that this is an odd thing to do. I mean, maybe this whole getup is, and like the fact that I'm making a really long video is kind of strange, but in the moment it doesn't hit me, you know? I also kind of wonder like how much of the fact that a lot of this is obviously freshly harvested semen, that's the euphemism I'm going with here, how much of that actually affects like your the flavor of whatever you're about to eat. I just imagine most people are very ravenous after the act, and their willingness to eat anything would cloud their judgment. Does that make any sense? I don't know what I'm talking about. Cheers. That's one dish down. Only about like 30 more to go.
I give the smoothie a 1 out of 10 in terms of difficulty. Taste gets a 4 out of 5. I still don't fully understand what the semen adds aside from a clingy feeling in your throat. And I give it a 10 out of 10 in terms of semen noticeability factor, scale, something. Yeah.
So this next recipe is pretty simple. 1 to 2 shots of whiskey, hot freshly brewed coffee, or a double shot of espresso. I'm opting for coffee here because I'm going for the less caffeinated beverage. Also, I don't have an espresso machine, so whatever. Also some freshly whipped cream. And of course, the crucial ingredient, some semen. Today's yield is about half a tablespoon. And I will say, I probably severely overestimated my own ability going into this because I thought I'd be at least like 1 or 2 tablespoons. Not teaspoons, but tablespoons each time, but they've just been barely skirting the line of 1 tablespoon. So, I mean, these are bigger than usual shot glasses too. I'm not saying all this just to preserve my own ego, okay? I don't actually care about any of this. Anyway, the recipe also calls for 2 teaspoons of brown sugar. I don't have brown sugar actually, and when I drink coffee or anything like that, I don't really like to add sugar to begin with, so I'm just gonna opt to not have that in this one. And if I do want it a little sweeter, I got some honey on the side, so it should be fine either way. So the main difference with this recipe too is that Paul asks you to let the semen dissolve before continuing, which I guess is a pretty important distinction here on in. Like, do you want your semen freshly harvested, as in, do you want to come directly into the food? Or do you want to let it sit and let it get all drippy and melty like this? Which doesn't take long to happen, by the way. I'd say you have like a good window of opportunity, like 3 minutes, if I'm being extremely generous. Probably a little before that, probably like 1 to 2 minutes, honestly, before the semen gets extremely watery. So Paul says you need to dissolve the brown sugar and semen into the whiskey in a glass. So the first step is you add 2 shots of whiskey. Okay, and then you let the semen and the brown sugar dissolve. Again, I'm not using brown sugar, so we're just gonna put the semen directly into the whiskey. Oh, Jesus, okay. I have no implement for stirring anything, and I'm too lazy to walk to the kitchen right now. Paul says it takes some effort to stir the semen. Oh, Jesus Christ, that is not... It's just in there. Okay. Oh my good sweet Jesus. It looks like mold. It looks like, you know, you ever see like those videos of someone leaving like a water bottle in the fridge for too long, and then they come back to it and there's like this weird bacterium that's of an alien color? I'm getting that kind of vibe here too. Anyway, we're gonna add the coffee now. My cat's like right behind me too. He's like watching me do all this shit. So Paul says add the coffee about 1/2 an inch from the rim of the glass. So hopefully I don't spill this shit. I got a napkin beside me. You could see the lumps of semen in there. And then finally we're gonna add the whipped cream on top. I should honestly get the canister and just pour some new whipped cream instead of using this one, because it got all funky since I left it out for like 20 minutes as I was preparing. But I don't like to be wasteful, so yeah. Jesus Christ. It looks appropriately kind of gross. Honestly, I'm glad I put the whipped cream in there, because with this, it's like a mystery with each sip. You know, I feel like the distinction between adding it instantly and adding it like after letting it dissolve for a little bit so it gets a little more liquefied, I feel like that distinction is a little less important for these drink-based recipes, because semen still finds a way to kind of like congeal together and clump together no matter what. And I'm expecting that fully with this one, because I didn't bother stirring with this one. And maybe I should have, but I just honestly want to see what it feels like if I just leave it as is without stirring. You know? Cheers, everybody. It's like 2 p.m. right now and I'm drinking whiskey. Oh yeah, that's there. Oh, that's definitely there. The whipped cream kind of dissolved already, and I feel like it just kind of blended in with the coffee and the whiskey. So I'm just getting semen, coffee, whiskey, semen, coffee, whiskey, just like swirling around in my mouth. Yep. I'm gonna try to keep a counter for how many times I instinctively say it's not bad, as if like I'm expecting these things to be awful, because it's not the case. It's just like, what's the worst that can happen? It's just a regular dish with an aftertaste of semen, which isn't that bad, seriously. I will say that semen and alcohol aren't really that bad of a combination, because like the alcohol kind of like lessens the blow of the semen. Like semen has a very harsh overtone, especially if you're not used to it. I actually don't see the clumps anymore. I feel like it actually did fully melt into it. I would honestly down this whole thing right now, but it's like a huge fucking cup. And again, it's like 2 p.m. I got to stream later, so...
I get very long-winded and rambly at certain points, because these portions where I'm eating the food are completely unscripted, so, yeah. I hope the stuff that I said and am about to say makes sense to you.
And again, beating a dead horse, but like, I wonder how much of the taste is actually amplified by you coming down after the fact that you just came, you know? I don't know about you, but after an orgasm, everything feels better. It feels easier to breathe, like your skin feels more like attuned with the air, and maybe food tastes better too. I wonder how much of this is actually just self-conditioning with regard to just coming and eating over and over again. I wonder if I'm gonna ever get to a point where it's just like, ooh, like Irish coffee, and then I just pop a boner because I'm thinking about coming in my Irish coffee. Anyway, cheers everybody. You know, as I'm just starting these videos out, and as I'm just starting with appetizers, I'm trying to think of like some kind of calculus with which to analyze all these things. Now, as someone who is not a foodie, and as someone who does not cook professionally, or unprofessionally for that matter. I can't cook for shit. Taste is obviously one of them, but I feel like taste is such a peculiar thing, and it's so subjective considering, you know, it all depends on one's cum semen flavor profile. This is not that bad. I'm gonna maybe add a little bit of honey to this too to see what it tastes like. Still taste the semen. Semen is very, very strong, and it'll literally latch onto every other flavor profile in the thing that you're eating. I guess if you ever want to pick me up, make some Irish coffee and then come in that Irish coffee, because yeah, I feel refreshed. So it's like you can't really analyze this piecemeal, as in like you can't really analyze this just based on the food itself. You got to kind of take the whole sum collective of the experience of getting up to that thing and then consuming it, you know? Am I making sense here? It's like a practice, you know? I sound like I'm evangelizing for this shit, but I'm really just trying to say that, like, you know, when you analyze this, you have to take into account all the steps leading up to this, much like preparing any dish. I'm gonna take that idea, compartmentalize it, and just kind of like store it away for now. And as I'm making these dishes, I'm gonna kind of explore that a little more, because I think I'm onto something here. Anyway, moving right along to the next dish. I'm gonna drink this for the rest of the day, actually. I think I'm gonna drink this on stream.
I give the Irish coffee a 2 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, 8 out of 10 in terms of taste, and a 7 out of 10 in terms of fascinating to look at while making it, if you've ever wanted to see just a wad of your cum floating in whiskey.
The strawberry spashuita, that's one of those where you just add the semen. It's a visual. It's full of sugar and sweetness and acidity, but it's also cold. So the semen does, I won't spoil it, so focus your camera on when the semen hits the cold.
This recipe calls for 1 cup of frozen sliced strawberries, 2 cups of crushed ice, half a cup of good quality tequila, 1/4 cup of triple sec, and 1 tablespoon of fresh semen. You'll notice it's not here yet, and that's because I gotta make it fresh because I have to float the tablespoon of semen over the glass of tequila once it's prepared. So let's prepare the margarita first. So there it is without the semen. So I will be right back. Hopefully it won't take too long, and hopefully it maintains some of its integrity in the time that I'm gone. If you want more semen, you obviously have to last a little longer, which is going to be tough because this is slowly melting. And I know the recipe calls for 1 tablespoon, but that might be a little generous given the circumstances. All I'm saying is I'm prepared for a lighter load. Yeah, be right back.
I watched several of your YouTube videos. You could experiment with the volume. Some of the recipes are like, you need a little more, and experiment with edging or drinking more water like a couple hours before. Don't buy the stupid enhancement pills and stuff. They don't work.
And I'm back. And we have about 3/4 of a tablespoon. The recipe says after you've prepared this, you need to float the semen on the top and watch it coagulate. And it's meant to be a finishing touch, so to speak. Oh, Jesus Christ. All right. Oh my God. You know, every other shot so far has been kind of obscured in some way, whether by color or by multiple layers or something. That's just jizz. That's literally just cum on the very top. Not really seeing the coagulation either.
By the way, if you want to see an unblurred version of this video, I put a link in my description to a Ko-fi page where you can purchase the unblurred version. I put it behind a paywall because I wanted to see how many weirdos would actually purchase it, and also because I'm considering it to be just a general way to tip me for the video. I appreciate any support.
I'm just gonna kind of watch it before I attempt to drink this. It looks like it just looks like a misshapen ice cube. And at the very least, I know where to consciously avoid if I don't want to drink it. In the time it took for me to switch positions, the outer edges of the cube of semen has kind of sunk further in. Meanwhile, the main lump over here just kind of remains right in the center. Very much threatening to look at. Paul says in the recipe to add some sugar to the rim, but I honestly don't see the point of that for this particular recipe because we don't really need that extra kick of sweetness. And plus, I really want to, you know, get a full flavor of the main ingredient. because that's what we're all here to see. I hope you guys don't mind me kind of like bending ever so slightly the recipes here and there if I feel like they don't add to the overall experience. I'm talking as much as I am right now too because I'm trying to delay from actually drinking this, because this is probably more than any other recipe I've ever had the most obvious display of cum in the recipe. Yeah, like that just came out of me right now. That literally, okay. Let's take a little tiny sip from the outer edges first. Ooh. Ooh, man, this tequila is really strong, and I'm eternally grateful for that. It's not bad. Probably needs to be a better balance of strawberry to cube ratio. That's probably my fault. But so far I don't taste, you know what. Okay, maybe I do taste it, but it's hard to tell. You know, like that taste of tequila where it's like, I don't know how to describe it. Tequila has a very distinct taste where it like does this on your tongue. I don't know how to describe it. The more I drink from it too, the closer and closer the giant cube of semen is inching towards me. So it's just inevitable that I'm going to drink it. But what if I just drank it in one go? I don't think that's what you're intended to do, and I do want to preserve the integrity of these recipes, as I keep saying. But oh god, oh god. when you breathe a certain way, you can definitely taste it. It's not that it's necessarily bad. It's just that I think the awareness of it. Yeah, you know they're like, okay. This is going to be a very, very weird analogy that I'm about to come up with, but like there are certain foods that you may eat that like that ingredient in isolation you might not necessarily enjoy, but as part of another dish you like it, you know? To that extent, I'm trying to like analyze this from the perspective of like, what does the semen add to this experience? And it's kind of putting me in the headspace of like, if you don't like semen, then you're not going to like any of these recipes at all, because that aftertaste kind of flavor that I keep describing, it's not necessarily unpleasant. It's more just like, I guess the extra awareness that you know it's semen that you just produced is could make it a little unappealing. So points for this margarita in that the tequila and the triple sec kind of like soften the blow of the semen. I probably said this in the past, but it's like, it's as if the alcohol kind of introduces the flavor. You get like a little splash of strawberry along with it, which is quite pleasant. And then you just get a hit of like a very soft, underhanded hit of jizz afterwards. Like I said, if you're into that, then it's a great feeling, I'm sure. It's not necessarily bad, even for me and my very limited flavor profile, but like it doesn't add anything to it aside from that very draggy flavor, which I'm not a fan of. But there are other factors to this. It could also be the case that I just have a very poor diet, so. Oh, should I just do it? I don't know if you can see the thing. So you see that really big thing over there? That's jizz. That's just jizz. I think no, that's just frost. But if you see anything else in there, that's also frozen jizz. Let's say we just like bottoms up that giant glob. Me and you together. There's absolutely no fucking way. Oh wait, I can't. It's actually frozen. Oh my god. There it is. That's my frozen semen right there. Kind of relieved. It gives me an excuse not to have to down that in one go. Just kidding. I'm going to do it. Why does it taste like water? What the hell?
that one giant glob, that one giant frozen glob of semen tasted less like semen than individual small sips. What the fuck is that? What the fuck? Okay, I didn't taste anything just now. Was it because it was too cold? And now I don't have any. I kind of. That's weird. The taste is kind of like traveling up inside me. Okay, I don't know how to describe this. I can taste it from here. Okay, I guess since it's like melting in my system right now. Okay, I don't know if this is a proper analogy because I was never a smoker. I smoked for a tiny bit when I was like in high school, like cigarettes, I mean. That feeling of like the cigarette smoke kind of like going up your system, it's kind of the same thing, but with jizz. That's pretty interesting. Like every time I breathe in and out, I feel it. Margarita itself, though, pretty goddamn great. This is a solid go-to. Am I gonna be breathing that all day? Ugh. I give the Splasherita a 2 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, a 9 out of 10 in terms of taste, and a 10 out of 10 in terms of making me think of the concept of smoking cum. Also, I should mention, I found this in the back of my fridge. It's the protein smoothie I made like a week ago now. Real time. I probably shouldn't drink it, but honestly, I mean, it still smells good even though everything's separated. So. The ingredients for this are 2 ounces of vodka, 1 ounce of coffee liqueur. Instead of Kahlua, I opted for some Baileys today. I know they're not exactly the same thing, and Baileys doesn't necessarily have any coffee in it, but you could still make a White Russian with Baileys, okay? Trust me. Cream or milk and some ice cubes. And of course, a ½ ounce of semen. I'm very disappointed to report that I could only muster today a 1/4 of an ounce, which is just about half a tablespoon, I'd say. I don't really know what it was. I guess I just didn't do it long enough or something. I don't know. But we're gonna make the most of this today. I didn't prepare it fresh this time because there's no need for that for this particular recipe. So the recipe just calls for pouring the vodka, the semen, and the coffee liqueur over the ice cubes, and then top the glass with some milk. So I had the vodka and the Baileys. The only thing left is the jizz and the cream. But first we have to add the jizz before we top it off with the cream. It's always really interesting pouring this in to see how it will kind of blend with what's already in there. I imagine it's gonna freeze like yesterday. And I'm not seeing, actually, it's just staying in one spot. I'm gonna like slosh it around real quick. There we go. Now we have absolutely no trace. And now to top it off with some cream. So again, I'm taking some leeway here. This is almond milk. This is unsweetened almond milk instead of actual dairy-based cream because I'm lactose intolerant. I feel like I maybe added a little too much of everything else aside from, because I feel like I should have like balanced it out with the fact that I only had like a 1/4 of the semen that the recipe called for. But we're gonna make the most of this. So my initial thoughts are it seems to blend a lot better compared to the previous cocktails. I'm not just saying that because it's milk and you can't really see anything. You can't actually, like, there aren't any strings or anything. I've thoroughly examined it for like the past 5 minutes. I cannot find any evidence of the actual semen. And that's not just because I left it out for like 10 minutes before, hitting the record button. I don't think I've ever actually had a White Russian before. Paul mentions in the liner notes that this drink's popularity was revitalized by The Big Lebowski. I've never watched The Big Lebowski. Is there like a scene where Jeff Bridges drinks his own cum or something? I would love to know, actually. I'm sorry for fidgeting with my mouth so much. This little mouth hole is just it's just too tiny for my big ass mouth. Cheers, everybody. Ooh, that's honestly not bad at all. I don't taste the jizz though. Or maybe I do and I've just become so acclimated to it, because I do taste like a lingering something the more I talk. It's like what I was describing with the previous cocktail. Like every time you breathe, you can kind of sense it.
Hold on, I'm gonna take a few more sips. I'm gonna take like larger gulps too. Oh, that's really not bad at all. I'd like to think that I didn't botch this recipe just because I added maybe too much of the other ingredients. Because like when I did that in the past, I was still able to taste the jizz. But with this one, I don't taste it at all. Like not even a little bit. Let me keep trying. Oh wait, actually, in the past, like you could either taste it very, very strongly after the initial like gulp, or just like afterwards in general. With this one, I kind of taste it in the middle, if that makes any sense. You taste the cream, and then you taste the jizz, and then you taste the alcohol. It's an interesting journey. I'm gonna have to wash this fucking thing. The drink itself tastes good. Oh wait, hold on. I feel like I tasted just a little bit, just in the back of my throat. It just clings, like I keep saying. I feel like it doesn't cling in the way that you would expect it. It clings in the way where, like, you feel it kind of like dotting your esophagus. And like every time you breathe, you feel it just kind of like tingling up and down. That's the best way I can describe it, actually. I think this is gonna sound pretty obvious, but like, the harsher kind of alcohols like tequila or vodka and semen, like they kind of like bounce off of each other. They don't blend into each other at all. So like you're kind of working off the interplay of that. With this one, since it's more cream based, like hence like the texture is a lot thicker. They do kind of work off of each other, but like the semen ends up kind of dragging down the flavor of the cream liqueur. I seriously cannot find any like semen strings like I usually do. I would expect with the ice cubes that they would like freeze and coagulate like they did yesterday into a giant fucking cube. That didn't happen this time. I do kind of see it like frozen on some of the ice, just like little specks of it. How many times can I keep saying it's not bad? We just started this fucking video. I am like with each sip trying to get like a good mouthful of it, and it's not coming to me, seriously. Or maybe it is and I'm just not realizing it because I'm so inured to all this already. Okay, if you and your partner ever want to like fuck around and be like tee-hee, like we're gonna make one of these like semen recipes, I'd say this is probably your best start if you're actually like, if you actually want to do it but you're also a little scared of it, because like I said, I don't taste it at all. And like I'm still trying to work on that whole like calculus I talked about previous recipes ago with like, do you enjoy this all the more because you just came, or presumably you helped someone else come to provide the cum, and does that enhance the flavor a little bit? Do you enjoy it all the more because like you know it's in there even though you can't necessarily taste it, even though there's no flavor benefit for it? All those things are questions that I'm kind of formulating in my mind as I'm working on this video. And I feel like the appetizers are a great way, not just to start off the video, but to kind of like get acquainted with all this stuff before I dive into the heavier dishes, you know? Yeah, oh, I see like a little bit of a string there. Let's... Yeah, nothing. I don't get it. I mean, it's good. Again, it's good. But like you guys are watching this to see my reaction to drinking my own cum, and I'm sorry that the best reaction you're gonna get is probably for a little bit, actually, for a little bit, the best reaction you're probably gonna get is, yeah, that was it. It's okay. Anyway, moving right along.
I give the White Russian a 1 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, an 8 out of 10 in terms of taste, and a 3 out of 10 in terms of semen noticeability. I could barely fucking see or taste it.
The process of experimenting to write the cookbook took a while, so I had plenty of time to experiment. One of the things you become very sensitive to is the flavor of semen. The flavor is affected by your lifestyle. If you don't get any exercise and smoke and eat crappy food, I mean, maybe not instantly, but over time that will affect your semen as well. And I found, especially smokers, my partner at the time smoked. He only smoked sort of occasionally if he was stressed or partying or something. That's like one of the semen killers. I didn't follow any special, strict dietary sort of regime. But from experimenting, I did end up changing my diet sort of naturally, and I was eating much more fruits and vegetables. It started just like, oh, this is for the book. But then it's like, hey, this is actually a good idea. Pineapple has a great reputation, but it's any fruit, any sort of acidic, fresh fruit.
The ideal way to go about this recipe is to steam the milk with the semen first before adding it to the espresso. But I don't have the luxury of doing that because I don't have an espresso machine, so we're just going to go with store-bought cappuccino once again. And then we're just going to slowly whisk in the semen.
Just come in your cappuccino.
So once again, if you want to prepare this the way Paul intended, mix the semen and the milk together and steam them before adding them to the espresso. But assuming you can't do that and you go my road, the steps are get a cappuccino and whatever amount of semen you can muster. That was a seamless transition. So quick update, I've been experimenting with edging because Paul recommends in order to produce more semen for the final load. I won't go into explicit detail about what that is because I'm sure you already know what the fuck I'm talking about. I honestly did not understand the point of edging until I looked into the benefits, and this is firsthand proof. I've produced about a tablespoon when usually I'm struggling to even get like half a tablespoon, which by the way is the equivalent of like 2 teaspoons, which is what Paul says is the average. So like if I do a little bit of edging, then it's like a little above average. Anyway, I'm getting way too TMI. Let's just pour this shit in. And unlike the first video I did all those months ago, I'm gonna stir it immediately instead of just letting it sink to the bottom. I will note too, I don't know if this is a product of the edging or not, but I noticed that like the semen stays clumped together for longer compared to when I'm not edging, in that like it just liquefies a lot more quickly. But we'll see how that goes after I do a little bit of stirring. Oh! So I remember the last time I did this, I kind of like hemmed and hawed before actually taking the first sip. I'm not too worried now because I know what to expect just from the drinks I've had for the flavor palette of my own semen. The only thing I want to note is the difference with how I said the semen was a little more chunky compared to usual. So this is the cappuccino, just like last time. Really takes me back. Cheers, everybody. We've come a long way. I'm gonna take the first sip. I hope I thoroughly stirred it enough. It's pretty weak. It's pretty weak when you stir it. Again, now that I'm talking, I can kind of like taste like the little, I don't know what you call it, the way it like drags on your throat feeling. But in a like fragrant kind of way, it's more of like a smell rather than a taste, if that makes any sense. I feel like almost like the semen has dissolved, and therefore I've kind of botched this recipe. The first time I did this, I didn't stir it for like the first part of the video. I could taste like a little trail of it going into my mouth as I sipped it before. But with this one, it's almost like a little too subtle. Maybe it'll be the case like last time where like it's all kind of like pulled to the bottom, but that shouldn't be the case because I stirred it. Or maybe my cum is just that delicately flavored. I just taste the cappuccino and that's it. So I guess I'd like to very much urge everybody to follow Paul's directions properly when you're making the espresso. Steam the milk and the semen together. Granted, I also have this cappuccino, like I had it sitting for a while, so like the frothiness kind of went away after a while. But assuming I did do it, I would still assume that the semen would be better noticed. And again, I'm still trying to come up with a name for the sensation of like a post-nut taste. As in like things might taste a little different after coming. And also the knowingness of your cum being in the food that you're eating or someone else's cum. Because of course, as I eat all this and I drink all this, I am a little on edge. But then as I actually drink it and realize it's not that bad, or it's just very, very strong, that adds a certain sensation, you know? Actually, I'm starting to taste a little more and more as I get like lower and lower. Definitely feeling that dragginess in my throat. Maybe it's just accumulating in my throat. I think the more you drink it, the more you taste it, which is interesting. And I guess you could really try this with any kind of like coffee-based drink. Because in another way, it almost feels like the milk is masking the taste of the semen as well. Or it's like complementing it in a weird way. I don't know, it's hard to describe. They really kind of play off of each other. And I'm noticing that the more I drink this. So yeah, not bad. I would say as far as Paul's pure dishes go, this is very subtle.
So I don't know, might be worth a try if you're curious. I give the cappuccino a 0 out of 10 in difficulty, 7 out of 10 in taste, and an 8 out of 10 for my favorite little clip that I've been playing over and over again while editing to preserve my sanity.
Just come in your cappuccino.
Can you tell me about what the process was like in actually writing the book?
When writing the book, it was more that it was one thing to experiment in the kitchen and have fun, and then there was another thing of actually sitting there at the computer writing. It sounds like I'm exaggerating here because there's not much text. It looks easy, like, oh, you just throw together a recipe, take a photo, or find a stock photo if I couldn't take a decent photo myself. All that is a lot of work. Experimenting took a lot of time. I mean, I didn't know what I was doing from the beginning. I mean, there's a certain level of intimacy as well if you're more than one. Some of my friends were very sort of interested in as well. I wasn't in a rush or anything with the book. People were telling me, hey, you should do a cookbook, you should do a book. And I was like, that's crazy, a book about cooking with semen. And I was like, no. But it grew on me and I figured like, hey, why not? Like I said in the beginning, I hate writing. It was kind of fun, once the draft was done, and they're not perfect as you've probably discovered.
Right.
But the main thing is that the principle and the fun.
Everybody's so creative.
Appetizers they're usually lighter. So even in the recipes, I try to keep them that way. But I mean, some of them, they almost become like a main course. That's my fault of not being more strict with the categories. I would say just keep it light and don't be afraid. Now I'm contradicting myself here, but don't be afraid to say, I think Paul fucked up here. I'm not gonna add all this soy, okay? So this one, I haven't made this one for ages. If you feel like, oh, I don't actually like honey that much, so I'm not putting 3 tablespoons of it in here. You don't have to apologize for that.
So my approach to this is going to be very similar to last time. I got my salmon right here, and I got a Ziploc bag to leave the salmon in for marinade. But first, we got to prepare the marinade. The recipe calls for 2 to 3 tablespoons of honey. Any recipe that has like a lower ends measurement, I'm going to go for that one, if only because, like I said, I've been severely overestimating how much I'm able to produce. I don't know why my voice sounds so much deeper today. 1 tablespoon of lemon juice. Tablespoons of soy sauce. I'm not sure if this is a typo. I should have asked Paul about this. 1 teaspoon of mustard, 1 tablespoon of olive oil, and of course 1 to 2 tablespoons of semen. Today's yield is about 1 tablespoon. Kind of overshot it here. So the recipe calls for mixing all these ingredients together and letting it marinate the fish for about 20 to 30 minutes. It's just like last time in that the mustard seems to be overpowering literally everything else, and the honey doesn't seem to be blending well with the semen. Okay. So I don't know how to eyeball half of this mixture. So, I mean, it's like ultimately all going to be part of the salmon, so it doesn't really matter in the end, I feel. It didn't get enough of the honey, I feel, or at least not enough of the honey seems to have congealed with the rest of the mixture. We'll add it to the final glaze when we're actually cooking this thing. Close this bag up, shake it up for a little bit. All right, it's 20 minutes later and I'm back. I guess it's good to go. I guess I'll go cook this right now. I don't know how to transition this. So yeah, as I'm cooking, I'm going to add the rest of the marinade, quote unquote. You can see the semen clumps in there. I guess some of it is mustard, but some of it is definitely semen because it's like a little see-through. I'll be right back. Okay, so before you see the dish, please rest assured that it's still edible, okay? Even though, well, here, have a look. It looks mostly burned, but trust me, it's still edible. And it smells really good. The trick was to be a lot more liberal with the different condiments and the sauces that you use, because I didn't use enough honey last time, and like I feel like I probably, the honey is probably what's like burned onto the salmon right now. And I also did not use enough soy sauce because like the smell of the soy sauce in the salmon is really I'm quite enjoying that. I'm not seeing anything in terms of like, I'm not really seeing semen. I cook semen. I cook salmon pretty frequently. I can definitely notice the difference compared to when I usually cook it to now, because there are a lot more like little globules in the trail of olive oil around the salmon. Well, let's have a bite. Let's see how this turned out. Oh, Jesus. Okay. Mm. 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 Oh, that's real good. Oh, that's nice. Again, like I don't. Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. I was about to say I don't taste the semen. I don't get a hint of semen upon looking at this dish and upon first biting into it, but as I'm actually letting the flavor settle, you could definitely taste it. It's that expansive feeling in your mouth when it kind of just like sticks to certain parts of your mouth and it just like clings there, and the accumulation of that on your taste buds. Let's get like a little bit of a burn piece here, because like I said, I expect these burn pieces are actually a lot sweeter because that's where the honey kind of like burned onto the pan, you know. Mm. Mm. Yep, I was right. It's a lot sweeter and you can't really taste the semen. If you ever find yourself having unfortunately burned your semen glazed salmon, go for the non-burn parts if you want to taste more of the semen. I mean, overall, this is really good. God damn, I love salmon. I mean, I would eat salmon with anything, to be perfectly honest. Hold on, let me get one more bite of the semen glaze. Mm. I wish this goddamn mouth hole was a little bigger. Mm. Mm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could definitely, especially, oh man. Now that we moved on to actual foods, I'm trying to compare the different kinds of experiences, and like I'm still getting that feeling of, breathing in and out. You still get like a little tingle in your throat from the semen. Yeah. I don't know why I'm trying to hide the language I'm trying to say here. Last time I made this, the mustard, I added probably a little too much. You want to have less mustard because the mustard is meant to kind of like accentuate the soy sauce, I feel. Like the tanginess of the soy sauce. Otherwise, the semen is very, oh man. Okay, hold on. Yeah, it's there. Sorry to interrupt my own train of thought, but it's there. Yeah. Yeah. The more I say yeah too, I can taste it in the back of I can taste it in my tonsils. Yeah, no. I'm a fan. This is quite good. I'm gonna kind of get some of the skin and really baste it in the sauce that's dripping on the side. I'm gonna actually finish this. I can't. I'm not coughing because anything's stuck in my throat. I'm coughing just because like I want to get a sense of how much is in there, because every time I cough, I can sense it in my throat. I know that's like a weird phenomenon to describe, but like if you know, you know. I'm not going to generalize and say there are no other liquids as with this level of viscosity as semen, but semen is definitely very unique. I know I seem disgusted right now, but this is quite good. I'm wincing because of the bright light of the camera, I promise you. Anyway, moving right along.
I give the salmon a 4 out of 10 in terms of difficulty, 10 out of 10 in taste, and an 8 out of 10 in semen flavor. Just being really straightforward this time, I don't care.
Have you done any of I call them the purer ones, like where there's less ingredients? I didn't want a cookbook where everything was semen incorporated into regular dishes, or you have to be a professional cook to get it right. I wanted to have also recipes where it was just super easy. Like the slightly salted caviar. Basically, you can't fuck it up, although you did fuck it up, right?
I did, yeah.
Like, there's two ingredients and you fucked it up.
So, just like last time, the ingredients for this are quite simple. We just need some high quality caviar and some fresh semen. So I majorly screwed up the first time I did this in that I used a metal spoon, and you're not supposed to eat caviar with metal because it'll degrade the taste. So as Paul suggested, I'm going to be eating everything from non-metallic implements, including this mother of pearl spoon. I should also mention that today's yield is only half a tablespoon, if only because I accidentally missed the shot glass and a good deal of it spilled out. Probably a detail you didn't need to know, but for educational purposes, I need you to know that. And I need you to know that it was an accident, not because I'm a coward or anything and I intentionally spilled some, because I didn't want to have some directly pouring into my mouth. But anyway, so what we're going to do is we're going to delicately pour this caviar. This brand is called Romanov caviar, by the way. I'm going to very gently spoon some into this cup I have here. I say gently because Paul emphasizes that caviar is very, very delicate and breaks very easily. He also emphasizes not only to use the highest grade caviar, but also the highest grade semen. So, you know, if you've been lapsing in your diet as of late, probably best to skip this recipe in particular. The only thing you need to do is just gently blend the semen with the caviar by pouring it directly over. And there it is. I am so thankful that I actually spilled some, because this is, I literally ate my own frozen cum, and yet this is just a lot more visceral of an experience for me. I'm very delicately blending the semen into the caviar, as Paul says to do in the book. So I remember the first time I did this, I wasn't taking it seriously at all, which is probably why I completely glossed over the fact that Paul says directly in the book, don't use metal implements. So I hope you guys can forgive me with how absolutely terrified I am right now of this. Something about how just drippy all of this is, how everything is just sticking together, is kind of freaking me the hell out. But if you ask me, life is all about confronting certain alien experiences that you might find a little tantalizing, even if they might scare you a little bit, and overcoming them. I don't know where that came from. I get very verbose when I'm trying to stall, apparently. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a veneer of slime encapsulating all of this. You know, like when you crack an egg and like how everything just kind of like sticks together. Everything's just kind of like soluble, even though it's like a very drippy liquid. So I want to get some of that liquid as I take my first bite, which is right now. Oh wow. That was not awful. Let me see if that was a fluke. Let me get like a deeper scoop of just that, the drippings. Why'd I put it like that? That's honestly not bad. Okay, so one of the reasons why I may have glossed over the fact that you are not supposed to eat caviar with a metal spoon is that, like, I obviously do not eat caviar that often. The saltiness of the caviar is the first thing that hits you. Like I said, you almost expect that aftertaste once again, but instead what you get is kind of just like
Calm.
a fishy aftertaste, not in a bad way, but it's more just like everything is just kind of settling. I can't describe it. Hold on, let me see if I can take another bite and maybe describe it better. It's like when you chew on the egg and then it kind of like explodes in your mouth. That explosion of saltiness and slight crunchiness from the inside of like biting the texture of the caviar is kind of dampened by the semen. Oh. The more I talk, the more I taste it, actually. Ooh. Oh God. I feel once again very out of breath for no reason. Ooh. It's there. Oh, it's there. I gotta stop repeating myself and stop saying that it like clings to your throat, but like with this especially, oh my God, look at how fucking drippy it is too. With this especially, it's just like, I can kind of see how these two flavors blend together. For this one, there is absolutely no sense of what I get with what I described with some previous dishes about how like there is that aspect of, am I enjoying this more because I know that there's semen inside of it? No. With this one, there's absolutely not. This one might actually be all about the flavor, which is kind of ironic, I would think, considering like caviar, it's like such a prototypical kind of food when it comes to luxury. And usually with luxury, I tend to associate that with like more delicate flavor palettes and stuff. But this one is just, you're just eating salt and cum. It's not subtle at all. There's one egg there and a pool of my semen. Cheers. Yeah, really slosh it in your mouth there, and yeah, it was okay. I hope my ramblings are making some sense here. And then I'm not just eating my cum for nothing. Whew. Why am I so out of breath? I'm literally not moving.
I give the caviar a 1 out of 10 in difficulty, 6 out of 10 in taste, and 10 out of 10 if you ever want to conquer your fears about eating your own cum.
So for this recipe, what you need is a half a pound to 1 pound of live mussels. Shouts out to Fulton Fish Market. This is not sponsored. I'm sure they want their name associated with my video. Half a cup of dry white wine, a tablespoon of chopped parsley, 1 to 2 cloves of minced garlic, a quarter cup of shallots, 4 tablespoons of butter, and of course, 1 tablespoon of semen. Today's yield is unfortunately only half a tablespoon. I've been kind of tired and stressed today. So I don't cook mussels all that much, but from what I understand, what you need for this recipe is to cook it the usual way, but in the saucepan, you slowly whisk in the semen along with everything else. So we're gonna clean the mussels, prepare the saucepan with the butter and the herbs and the white wine, and then we're gonna steam the mussels inside everything, including the semen. So let's go do that right now.
So I recorded these segments throughout the video where I'm in the kitchen, but I forgot to narrate over them while cooking, so I got some friends of mine to do that for me. Please go show some love to these people wherever you can. They're all really fucking cool, and I love them all. I also didn't give them much guidance, so if they say anything weird, it's not my fault.
What a grand butter swirling technique. An excellent volume. Quality over quantity. A rustic style chop. Ooh, such marvelous and captivating steamed mussels.
By the way, this is what Rock sent me for a first draft of this audio.
The Fulton Fish Market has been of interest to economists as a case study in imperfect competition, despite its highly centralized market with a large number of well-informed buyers and sellers. Using 1992 data, Catherine Grady found that third-degree price discrimination arose in the Fulton market. In 1997, Lenny Kravitz and Ken Dodd performed an impromptu curbside concert at the Fulton Fish Market, which formed the basis of Dodd's feature film, Me and Lenny Kravitz Both Love Scampi and Chips, although he doesn't have vinegar on his, released in the same year. Citation needed.
Thanks, bud.
I'm trying to calculate how I can effectively show this while standing up, and that Paul says you immediately serve these with the semen butter glaze that you made in the saucepan. I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab a mussel, pry it from its shell, and just kind of like use this as dipping sauce. So this is going to be pretty messy. First thoughts is that when I was making the semen butter in the saucepan, like it was kind of like you could very easily tell where the semen was because the semen doesn't obviously cook in the same way that butter does. We got one right here. It's a finely steamed mussel right there. We're going to dip it in the butter and the semen. So in the time it took for me to set up this little camera setup, the butter and the semen kind of like separated a little bit. So I'm really going to like use this first mussel to really slosh everything around and kind of make sure that the butter and the semen have congealed together again. Oh God. Let's just go for it. Mmm. 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 Oh. Oh my God, the tenderness of the mussels, freshly steamed, the delicate flavors of the butter and the semen together. That is good. That is really, really good. Again, I've never cooked mussels before in my life because I'm poor and this shit was pretty fucking expensive. Shouts out Fulton Fish Market. It kind of blends together really, really well. The white wine aftertaste and the semen aftertaste. So I guess that's like something to look out for in future recipes where like if there are competing aftertastes and how well they blend together with the semen. Let's try another one to see if that was a fluke. Oh, this is a big juicy one right here. Oh, Jesus. Don't make a huge mess. All right, here we go. Oh God. You see that? You see that? Are you looking? Don't worry, YouTube, it's just butter. All right, let's. Mmm. 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 Oh, this is. Oh, this is fantastic. Oh my God. I have an excess of mussels that I don't really plan to eat. But now I'm seeing that kind of as a good problem because this is so fucking good. There's some more. I'm trying not to get butter on my mask. I've been breaking out a little here and there, probably because of the food stains on this goddamn mask. I could tell which mussels too were steamed closer to the top and so were less exposed to the herbs, but it should still be good. They're still cooked all the way through. Even when it wasn't exposed to the herbs, so you're just getting an unseasoned mussel, it's still really good with the semen butter sauce. Semen and butter go really well together. Will I be able to finish all these in one go?
The table I'm using beside me is like coffee table height, and I'm standing, so this next part's gonna look really weird, but I couldn't edit it out.
Oh, there you go. I finished all that shit. Yeah, so I highly recommend this one. The recipe itself is quite good. With the semen butter, it's even better. Holy crap. Ooh, I feel like a new man. I am so eager to try the rest of the seafood dishes, actually. So let's keep it going.
I give the mussels a 3 out of 10 in difficulty, 15 out of 10 in taste, and a 10 out of 10. Please believe me, this is actually really good. You have to try it yourself. I'm not some lunatic, okay?
Certain ones like the man-made oysters, I mean, that's pure semen. If you have good semen, then it's like you have a good oyster, like it'll work.
So this could quite easily be the most simple recipe in the book. If you're wondering why I already have the oysters out here, it's because I didn't have an oyster knife and preparing these things was a fucking pain in the ass. So I didn't want to bumble around while I was preparing the cum and the ice. In case both of those went bad. So for this recipe, you might be thinking, oh, like based on the previous dishes we've had, we're going to use the semen in some kind of garnish, or maybe we'll come in the oysters and have them together. No, you're wrong. The oysters themselves do not matter. We just want the shells, and the semen will be the new oyster. So it's actually a good thing that Fulton Fish Market sent me, please sponsor me by the way, sent me an entire dozen of these when I ordered them. Because, like I said, I kind of screwed up in preparing these oysters because I didn't have an oyster knife. I didn't even know that was a thing until today. So we're going to choose the most aesthetically pleasing looking oyster, just one. And since I only have enough for one oyster, quote unquote, as in today's yield was only about, again, half a tablespoon, because I've been really busy and tired lately. We're going to choose just what we think is the most aesthetically pleasing oyster, and then we're going to clean out that oyster, prepare the bed of ice, and put in the semen. Yeah, I'm thinking this might be the best one, because the ones at the bottom were the ones I was kind of preparing first and was kind of being very impatient in the process. I'm really surprised I did not stab myself in the hands while doing all that. So I think around shell 10 or 11, I really hit my stride. So I guess we'll go with this one actually. Let's just eat this oyster first before I prepare anything else. I should have washed that more thoroughly. The oysters themselves are quite good. Paul says you should clean this out without soap because soap taste sticks to the oyster shell. I prepared the oyster shell on a bed of ice. Next, all you need to do is just dribble the semen into the shell. I'm actually doing this. Oh my God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay. Apparently you're supposed to chill the semen beforehand, but I think this is an okay substitute. I guess we'll just wait for it to maybe solidify a little. In order to check that, we'll just kind of move it around every so often to see if the viscosity has gotten a little more firm. I want to let it chill a little more, but also for garnish you could use pepper and lemon. So this is going to be pretty much just a straight cum shot. Okay, yeah, it's solidified a little bit, so let's just take a small squeeze of lemon and some black pepper for garnish. What am I doing with my life? I didn't want to add too much pepper because I'm trying to watch my something. The words are escaping me because I can't stop staring into that pool of liquid. Okay. By the way, this mask is still a little damp because I washed it and the mouth area just smells like detergent. I hope that doesn't affect the taste or anything. This is just straight up cum. It hasn't even like frozen like it did in the margarita. All right, I'm gonna pick it up. Yeah. There are no words. I'm pretty much just taking a shot of my own cum. Paul, by the way, also had a chef's note saying, a true semen connoisseur would do without the lemon or the black pepper garnish. I guess I'm not a true semen connoisseur. No. Oh, I don't have a drink next to me. Oh, it's in my mouth. Oh, it's coating the entirety of my mouth. I feel on the roof. I feel under my tongue. I feel in the back of my throat. Oh, I'm so sorry for everything. The garnish definitely eased things up a little bit. I must say, too, my semen does not taste that bad. It's okay. This, above all, is probably like the strongest dose of semen I've ever had at once, and I must say, the more I talk, and the more I talk with like flapping my gums about, like I feel it kind of accruing in my throat. I feel it building up like right here, kind of like what I've been describing this whole time, just tenfold. I can't believe I bought a dozen oysters just for this experience. I should be like a fucking YouTuber and be like, hey, giveaway, who wants this oyster? Just retweet this video.
Okay, I was joking, but if you want to buy this oyster, just send me a tweet or an email or something. Yeah.
Honestly, it's not bad. Thankfully, I don't have very vile tasting semen. So it's honestly not that bad. It's just like this whole process. Was it worth it? Like I see in Paul's picture, just like 5 shells lined up, all loaded with a lot of jizz. I mean, it could be perspective. It could be that those shells are really small, but like how? I mean, I know how, obviously. I know from a practical sense how, but this has got me in my head. This one has got me in my head a little bit. I'm just wondering the practicality of this versus the so-called gustatory benefits. You gotta really like semen for this. I mean, I guess like if you're eating oysters, you might as well prepare this, but even so, I'm not.
I give the oysters a 6 out of 10.
I am so excited for this next recipe, if only because I really want to eat this tuna. It looks really goddamn good. Which is to say, yes, I got some fresh tuna, sushi grade. Shouts out Fulton Fish Market. There are no tricks to this recipe like the previous one. We're actually going to eat the sushi. We're just adding the semen to the dipping sauce, which is made of a 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 1/2 cup of peanut oil, 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, a tablespoon of grated garlic, which I already have in this cup here, a tablespoon of grated ginger. As with any sushi dish, this is mostly for garnish, a tablespoon of semen. Although I'm afraid to say once more that I've only been able to produce 1/2 tablespoon today. Not because I'm tired or anything, but because I had trouble aiming into the shot glass. Anyway, as you can see too, a lot of these are freshly purchased. I pulled absolutely no stops in this video. So let's measure all the ingredients and then I'll go chop the sushi up first. Okay, and then all we have to do is add the jizz. I'm going to do a very smooth transition here. There it is. If you were expecting the plating to be a lot fancier, then you've come to the wrong fucking channel. I did my best to cut the sushi as thinly as possible, as Paul says in the recipe book. The only thing left to do is to just kind of pour the sauce all over the sushi and enjoy. Oh my god. Oh my god. Let's just dunk the entire fucking thing. Who cares? Oh my god, this is a disaster. So that was a very stupid thing I just did, pouring all of it, because I'm gonna have to really delicately balance this as I'm holding it in order to not spill anything. I just can't tilt the plate over to show you what's on the plate. I probably didn't whisk the sauce properly, but all the flavors should still be there, and I'm planning to really just kind of like I didn't grate the garlic enough either. More than anything else, I'm just really eager to eat this tuna. So here goes. Initial thoughts, I can't taste the semen at all. Actually, maybe I can. I love how every single time I say I can't taste the semen, without exception, I end up tasting it in the same bite. The sauce is really, really good. I like the, I never had sesame oil with peanut oil at the same time. That is some really good tuna though. Actually, now maybe I do taste it, but like I'm not familiar with these other flavors in the sauce. Maybe that's what it is. I taste this kind of like that similar kind of like dragging down feeling of the semen. That could just be the sesame oil, because the sesame oil is really strong. God damn, I love this shit. You kind of forget that your own semen is in this, which ruins the fun, to be honest. Why else am I doing this, you know? Oh, this tuna is just so... It's so tender. It's so good. Oh, I could taste the semen, actually. In that one bite, I could taste the semen. It like appears out of nowhere, and you're just like, oh, right, it's there. I could kind of tell where it is just a little bit, because there are these little tiny blotches. Oh my god, I really tasted it just there as I breathed. Yeah, I guess the key is to really just kind of, if you really want to taste the semen for whatever reason, is kind of drown it in the sauce. I've been spending the last like 2 minutes just kind of drowning this one, so let's try this one. I would recommend, if you really want to taste the semen, blend everything together first, all the other ingredients of the sauce first, and then add the semen, and then just lightly whisk that. Because otherwise you kind of lose the flavor if you whisk everything all at once, is my suggestion. Or maybe just the quality of my semen is just not that good. But I shudder to think that there's anyone with semen out there strong enough to overpower sesame oil. I'm just gonna have this one and actually call it, because this is starting to feel really heavy. I would suggest maybe even adding it to the top of the tuna, like glazing it on top of the tuna, and then dipping that into the sauce. And believe you me, this is some high quality tuna. Shouts out Fulton Fish Market. Thank you, Fulton Fish Market. I'll stop torturing you by name dropping you in my video. Yeah, so I'll just take like one more bite, yeah. Oh god. The more you taste it, the more you can actually taste it. Does that make sense? I'm slurring my words right now because every time I talk with certain syllables, as it always is, I taste both sesame oil and semen in the back of my throat. Oh god. The great thing about ordering tuna online is that there was a minimum for the order, so I had to get 2 steaks, not just 1. So I have a little snack too for later in the day.
I give the tuna a 2 out of 10 in difficulty, 10 out of 10 in taste, and a 7 out of 10 for almost making me rip my mask just now for taking such a large bite out of the tuna steak just for a stupid joke.
So after you published the book, what was the reception like?
The media attention was probably about 0 in the beginning. I didn't publish the book to make a bunch of money or,
Right.
I published it just for fun. There was no real attention there. And then San Francisco Review, SF Review, I think was the name. It was one of the San Francisco sort of entertainment magazines. Did an interview. Instead of it being sort of, hey, what's weird today? It was actually the food critic, reviewer of restaurants and food who did the interview, and that changed everything, because the discussion before then and the emails I got and all that was more like, oh, you're a fucking weirdo. I was like, okay, I'm gonna stop checking my email. But then after that article, it was like, oh, all of a sudden eating semen was not in the fringe. It was along with food and wine. Somewhere in the article, a tagline or something said, when I interviewed Paul, I thought that I would be talking to some kind of freak, but he's not a freak. And then I was like, oh yeah, finally. Once the reviews came in on Amazon and I got emails, and then I realized that if I want to preach the word of semen, then I have to accept the other side as well, that it's humor or gag gift or strange, whatever people want to call it. I'd be naive if I believed that everyone would say, oh yeah, wow, semen, it's the new condiment in my fridge, And then also to see it as a humorous book. That's only humor. I mean, I did try to have fun writing it. So I totally get that it's a gag gift type thing, but that's something I was willing to accept because there's a lot of people who do understand that this is something that can make cooking a little more interesting or add sort of a intimate dimension to cooking, and it's more like something fun and exotic, and nobody needs to eat semen. Even if you were starving, it wouldn't help you that much unless you had a whole bunch.
102, take 3.
Ah, the French.
If I were to write this book again, the categories wouldn't be sort of appetizers, main course, dessert. I'm not suggesting that you change anything in your marathon cooking, but I would probably categorize them more how many ingredients or how distinct of a semen flavor it is. In any of the dishes with meat in it or a lot of soy or other sort of heavy ingredients, then the semen is definitely overpowered by that. The thing about our sort of perception of food and whether something's delicious or not, it's not just your taste buds and the smell. So it's also knowing that something is in there. I mean, there's still that sort of psychological perception of it. It is about eating semen, cooking with it and all that. And there's so many aspects to it. So that's what makes it fun to explore. If you would put breast milk, human breast milk into your coffee, I've never tried it, but if you put it in your coffee, you would probably taste the difference. But if you were to put it in some dish, you probably couldn't taste the difference. But just knowing that it's from a human would change your perception of it. So what's in the food is even symbolically important. Roasted lamb with good gravy. I don't know how you could possibly taste the semen in that recipe because there's so much other stuff there and so many other flavors.
So this recipe as it's written in the book might be a little confusing if you've never made gravy from scratch before. What you need is some lamb, 1 tablespoon of flour, a cup of milk, and of course 1 tablespoon of semen. Today's yield was 1 tablespoon, thankfully. So I had to do a little research because the recipe first and foremost calls for getting 2 to 3 tablespoons of the fat and drippings from the lamb. So what we're going to do is we're going to put this in the oven first on a sheet and then just kind of let it, cook slowly and then, whisk away some of the drippings. And then we're gonna make gravy with the flour and the milk and the semen. Yeah, pretty simple stuff. But I've never done this before, so I hope I don't fuck it up.
Now you might be thinking, Enrico, you're supposed to pan-sear it before you put it in the oven. You'd be right. That would be the traditional method for a traditional mind. But we're breaking new heights here. When you oven bake it first, before throwing it on the pan, you get rid of all those pesky juices. All those pesky juices that would be competing with the cum gravy. We ain't here for lamb juice. We're here for man juice. Fortunately, we got 1 tablespoon to make this shit work. Which reminds me of a dog that I had, funny enough. When I'd walk him, people would say to me, "Wow, your dog's so beautiful." I just smile and tell him, "Thanks. He's not making it on brains." Whenever that dog would do some dumbass shit, I'd always look him in the eye, his big, dopey eyes, and I'd say, "Buddy, you're so pretty." And you're so pretty. And we're gonna watch it all come together. I can think of no wrist motion more appropriate for heralding the second coming of flavor. That milk looks like it might be a little bit thicker than normal. There could be cum in there. You know what's the perfect thing to balance out the saltiness of cum? Shitload of pepper. To the untrained eye, that might have looked like too much. But we need it. We need that much. to balance out the yum that we put in Sodi yum. Oh, it's so thick, so painfully thick. All thanks to that heaping tablespoon of love.
So I'm a fucking dumbass. I was talking to the camera for like 15 fucking minutes before realizing I wasn't even recording. I added the semen to the thing here with all the gravy, and then I poured all the gravy onto his plate over here. Oh, Jesus Christ, I had such good commentary too. So this was the first meaty dish we tried together. I know it looks fucking awful right now. Trust me, it looked a lot better. I wish I could prove it to you. For the love of God, you have no idea how sad I am that I just lost all that footage. I mean, look at it. Look how fucking dirty my mask got. I gotta wash this shit after. So as I pour the semen into the gravy, you could see very clear spots where the semen was just sitting, not really blending in with the gravy. So I kind of like scooped it in directly into those spots and ate it. And I made the determination that, like, if you're gonna make this dish for whatever reason, don't be afraid to over season the lamb and the gravy, because right now, as of right now, it's a little bland with just the salt and pepper. I didn't season the lamb at all because I wanted to get the full flavor of the gravy. The gravy itself, the flavor of the gravy and the semen, like I said, they don't blend together. So what you get is this feeling of like the semen, as usual, sticking to the back of the throat while the gravy is just coating the rest of your mouth. Do I even have any meat left on this bone to even like show myself grossly biting into this thing? I'm so fucking sad that I lost all that fucking footage. Oh, actually. Oh, hey, wait. So I bit into a really fatty part of the lamb just now. And that was interesting because the fatty part of the lamb and the gravy kind of like go really, really well together. They're almost one and the same flavor with how bland the gravy is anyway. Again, that's not a knock against the book. I'm more just saying, like, I assume that when you're making these things, you add seasoning to them, and I didn't add much at all. I was also saying when I was foolishly not fucking recording that, like, as I was eating this, I felt a sense of oneness with my semen. That is an extremely weird thing to say as I'm saying that, but it's a shame that like meat doesn't go well with semen. The flavor of the meat overpowers the semen, as Paul says, because I feel like hearty, meaty dishes like this are the perfect pick-me-up after having completed. And then knowing that, like, you know, I did all that for contributing to the finer aspects of this dish made it all the more satisfying. For a split second, I thought that. Not completely, but for a split second, I had that feeling. And then I started getting to this mental headspace of how, like, everything in life, in terms of tolerance, is a slippery slope. Like how much I'm not weirded out by any of this stuff, when a year ago I was afraid to even add it to my smoothie. Now I'm just adding it to everything. This dish, while very bland compared to everything else I've had so far, also kind of giving me lower expectations for the rest of the meaty dishes we have in this section, kind of got me in my own head. And I feel like that wouldn't have been achieved if the semen actually did pair well with the meat. I guess something in my mind just was kind of galvanized by the fact that, like, this is essentially a useless dish and the semen doesn't add much because you only taste it as a little bit of an afterthought, which you can say about all the other dishes, but all the other dishes, you can still kind of taste how it would go well together. This one, it's just there. It's literally just like, hey, let's come in the gravy, and then let's eat it. I'm sure that's not actually the case. Paul put a lot of work into this. It got me into that headspace for a split second, and I was thinking of all those different things and all those permutations. Or maybe I'm just kind of like waxing philosophical about something that doesn't need to be thought about so deeply because I fucked up the gravy. Anyway.
I give the roasted lamb an 8 out of 10 in difficulty, 3 out of 10 in taste, and a 5 out of 10 right down the middle. This is really hit or miss depending on how much you really want to know that there's cum in your food. Yeah. So for this recipe, I could only get my hands on one specific cut of veal,
But in order to make scallops, I don't know how to pronounce that. I'm so sorry. I refuse to look that up too. You just need to cut it thinly, I believe. So what you need for this recipe is 1 pound of veal, 3 to 4 tablespoons of butter, juice from a lemon, 2 to 3 tablespoons of dry white wine, some flour, salt and white pepper, and chopped parsley, and of course, a tablespoon of semen. You'll be happy to know that today's yield was exactly 1 tablespoon. So right off the bat, the first thing we need to do is add the lemon juice to the shot glass of semen. Paul says it doesn't matter if it's lumpy, this little mixture here, because we're gonna be adding it to the veal right before serving. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut the veal thinly, dust it in flour, and saute it in butter for about 30 seconds on each side. And then we're gonna remove the meat, add the butter, and when the butter gets hot, you add the wine, the salt, pepper, and parsley. Then in that sauce, we're gonna add the lemon semen and then pour all of that together over the prepared veal. So let's do that right now.
Hey everyone, Enrico left me in charge of the audio for this portion. He wanted to make sure you knew he didn't cut the veal thin enough, so if you're following along at home, don't make the same mistake. I really did not get much more direction than that. I do also want to bring attention to the fact that about a minute ago, when N said flour, he said it more suspiciously than semen. So watch out for that stuff. I'm keto anyway. Flour, I hardly know her. Now, there's about 30 seconds left in the clip he sent me. I don't know if I'm supposed to narrate over the whole thing, but you can see he flours and fries the veal. Looks pretty good. Then he makes what seems to be brown butter sauce out of the lemon semen duo. A combo more powerful not seen since the Jimmy Timmy Power Hour. Anyway, you can follow me on Twitter at POTUS and give me money, or make me say stupid things for you, just like N did. Later, gamers.
So, right off the bat, it needs to be said that I didn't prepare this correctly. I know this. I'm working within my own limitations right now because, like I said, I don't have access to veal scallops, whatever the fuck. But what matters is the semen glaze. I should also preface this by saying that I think this is the first time I've ever had veal, too, in my entire life. It smells really, really good. I know that sounds ridiculous because I don't have a nose right now, but the fragrance is like wafting really, really strongly towards me. And I could see kind of the semen lumps a little bit, or what I think are semen lumps. It could just be that the lemon juice didn't congeal properly. Whatever, let's just try this. I know the cut is supposed to be a lot thinner than this. Please don't get upset with me for not following the recipe by the book, okay? All right, let's try this. Oh, I can taste the semen. Yeah, no, this is like the lamb dish. You barely taste the semen because the meat is so strong. And because of that, I guess it's more just the knowing that it's in there that's more pleasurable. Unless you really, really drench it, I guess, because even with all like the seasonings and stuff, I can't imagine tasting the semen in this at all. Well, let me try one more time. This one is like a little thinner cut and a little crispier too, because I probably didn't saute it properly either. I'm like letting it really like bounce along my tongue as I chew it to see if I can taste the lemon semen, but nah. No, I don't taste it at all. I almost wish I could taste it because that was like a strong tablespoon of semen. I was edging for a good while just for that, only to not have the actual flavor be in here, which is a little disappointing. But like I said, part of what makes this a pleasurable experience is the fact that I'm eating such a hearty, meaty dish after having expended that energy. And that kind of adds to my enjoyment of this too. I'm really liking this. It's weird, I could definitely taste the lemon, but I can't taste the semen. I'm like afraid to... Yeah, no. I'm sad. I don't even taste it in the back of my throat like I usually do. This is like the first time that's ever happened in one of these dishes. Maybe if you had like a heavier load, more than a tablespoon. Maybe if you just have like a bunch of dudes. Maybe this is like a dish better for the parties. I tried different cuts, like whether they looked more fatty or more lean. I tried really, really drenching it in this sauce to no avail. Well, let me try this one. For a split second, I could taste it. Absolutely, for a split second. It like barely just like glided along my tongue, and then the lemon flavor kind of overpowered it. So it is there. I'm just kind of like halfway postulating this idea of you masturbate for obviously the pleasure and the gratification in and of itself. But also, what if there was like a whole subculture where you masturbate with the intention of eating food afterwards so that the food tastes better, and then like it seems to like, it nourishes you throughout, you know? What I'm basically saying is, these last two dishes, the very meaty dishes, the semen did not add much, like at all. The gravy, I could barely taste it, and this one I can't taste it like at all, for maybe like half a fucking microsecond. But I'm still enjoying them, and I don't know if that's just because I'm so freaking tired, or if that's just because I'm like halfway through an entire month of having done these every single day, or if the dishes are just really, really good. The act of providing the semen and almost just kind of like, you know, just basking in the fact that it's in there, that includes knowing that all that hard work has culminated in this little dish of yours. It feels good. I hope I'm making sense. I'm just kind of loopy right now for a number of reasons. So yeah, why do I feel like this was the most defensive addition to the video so far? I don't have Stockholm Syndrome from the Semen Cookbook. Okay, let's move on.
I give the veal a 6 out of 10 in difficulty, a 7 out of 10 in taste, and a 10 out of 10 felt really good to gnaw on some meat after making that cum.
So I had a website called cookingwithcum.com, which doesn't exist anymore. A friend of mine who's good at making websites and stuff added a chat function. And I thought, oh, this is so much fun. You know, we can have a community of semen cooking enthusiasts. Made these different threads like, semen as desserts, semen as main courses, you know, having some fun. That was as the book was being completed. And there was some really good sort of suggestions and ideas. One of them is the lumpier lumpia. That was a suggestion from the forum. I really didn't really like the lumpia. That recipe isn't that good.
So this recipe is broken up into two parts, and you can make the lumpia two different ways too, either with ground pork or with chopped shrimp. We are gonna opt for some shrimp. I shouldn't have done that big reveal that style because you can't even tell what's in there. It's shrimp, okay? So what you need for this recipe is 1 pound of either ground pork or chopped shrimp, 1/4 cup of water chestnuts, half a cup of finely chopped onions, 1/4 cup of minced mushrooms, 2 egg yolks, oh fuck, 3 teaspoons of soy sauce, and of course, some spring roll wrappers. So basically we're gonna combine all the ingredients inside a spring roll and then deep fry them in vegetable oil. And then we're gonna add the lumpia sauce, which is made up of 3 cloves of garlic, 3 tablespoons of brown sugar, 1/4 cup of vinegar, and of course, a tablespoon of semen. Today's yield, once again, is 1 tablespoon. So in a saucepan, we're gonna add those remaining ingredients and then remove them from the heat and then add the semen. And then you kind of use all that as a dipping sauce for the lumpia. So let's get to it. I have never deep fried anything.
Thanks for that introduction, and as we move straight into the action with some hot shrimp chopping. It's an aggressive start for this recipe with the cook throwing everything and the kitchen sink to the pot, but we'll see if this gamble works out. Moving on, we're getting a quick commercial break with a teaser for Olaf's Frozen Adventurer. The little guy proves he can take just about anything. A bit of an unconventional technique here as we see chopping directly in the bowl. Some might call the time-saving technique innovation, but I'm gonna call it as it is, sports fans. An abomination in the eyes of God. Hopefully we can bring it back around the second half, but it is not looking too good for our lumpias. Now we move on to my favorite part of cooking, getting stuffed, and use his hands instead of measuring, and you're thinking it, I'm thinking it. I hope he washed his hands after getting today's yield. We've spoken to experts about what having different sized lumps has on the deep frying process, and they all agree. It royally fucks it up. The only other way to fuck it up entirely this late in the game is to pierce the wrapping, and he does exactly that. You hate to see it, sports fans, you really do. He tries to save it with a last-minute spatula play, but it seems that much like the sauce we're about to make, it's just cocking it right up. Heading into overtime, the only way we could save this recipe is with a perfect execution of the sauce. It looks like En still has the spoons to handle the garlic mixture, so we might be seeing a buzzer beater win for the underdogs. And with a last-minute flourish, the main ingredient is here to finish us off, putting a capstone on what has surely been the worst disaster to hit American shores since Pearl Harbor.
Thank you, Lucy. By the way, you know all these cute little food illustrations in the video before each recipe? Those are made by Lucy. Please go show her some love. She's one of my closest friends and is very dear to me.
Okay, so there was an attempt here. No matter what you say to criticize me for what I'm doing, you can't say that I didn't try. And I don't know if that makes this all the more pathetic to show on camera. So we basically have to use this sauce. I say that very, very lightly. I should have minced the garlic more. I think like by the time I made the sauce, I was in the headspace of, I already fucked this up. I might as well fuck this up too. Which is not a good mindset to have in life. It still smells good. As messy as this shit is, it still smells really, really good. Ah, whatever. Everything looks cooked. That's what matters. I'm gonna spear every little thing that's supposed to be inside of the thing with a fork and then dip it all in the sauce and then consume. Actually, I didn't evenly distribute the ingredients, so one lumpia, quote unquote, had more shrimp than the other, so this is mostly just shrimp and water chestnut. I'm sorry, okay, I'm sorry. I know people are gonna roast me for how awful I am at cooking, but there was an attempt, okay? Let's just give this a try. I'm gonna dip this in the sauce. Cool. Yeah. God, I wish this mouth hole was bigger. Well, fuck me sideways. That tastes really good. Even if it's not visually appealing, it's still, the mouth doesn't discriminate. Oh, this sauce is actually really, really good too. What the fuck? I should have actually tried with this one instead of fucking it up. Hold on, I need some more of that shit. I would take this sauce to be a little too liquidy, but that's exactly why it works actually. You just need a little spritz of it. And by the way, I just realized I kind of quietly acknowledged the semen taste without saying anything about it. That's how normal this has become for me. It doesn't blend well with the deep fried flavor of the lumpia, quote unquote. Again, I'm saying lumpia with huge air quotes. I don't want people making fun of me saying that this isn't lumpia. I know it's not lumpia. I'm just saying that as shorthand, okay? But like you do taste it, and like you do kind of taste it almost trying to fight the deep fried flavor. I think like, okay, you can see how drippy it is. That's like, that's semen. That right there is semen. Let me take another bite actually. This is so good. Why the fuck is this so good? What the fuck? I hate myself. This is so good. Hold on, I see a largely intact piece. I think this is the one that was like bubbling up in the pot. I know Paul has a little bit of an aversion to this recipe, but the recipe itself is quite good. With the semen though, yeah, not really. It's like such a small afterthought that like you're just like, oh, probably could do without it. It at least introduced me to something that I never had before, even though this isn't the proper way to try it. I'm very sorry to all the Filipino people that this is my first exposure to lumpia. Please forgive me. I promise you I'll try again because this is actually delicious. The base ingredients are delicious. I'm just a dumbass. I just snorted soy sauce. At the very least, even if the semen doesn't add much, this does still fall in that special category of, hey, you just came. Get your energy back with this delicious hearty meal. Eating this is like hitting me in waves that I'm just not used to. It's like meaty flavors and fatty flavors after coming are much tastier. Don't judge me for this, but I'm probably gonna finish this dish because as much of a disaster as it looks, it's still delicious, and this sauce is good too. Like forgetting that there's semen in here, I've forgotten completely that this is a book about coming in my own food. Shouts out to all my Filipino viewers. Yeah. Anyway.
I give the lumpia a 9 out of 10 in difficulty, 9 out of 10 in taste, and a 4 out of 10 legit forgot what the original point of this video was while I was making this dish.
The one that I actually still make is the noodles with special spicy sauce. It's one of those where the semen is a minor ingredient, but there's just something about it. It's a great recipe and it's fairly easy to make. And the semen still adds something to it, but doesn't dominate or anything.
So for this recipe, what you need is a package of noodles or linguine. I chose the most Asian brand I could find in keeping with the Oriental theme of this specific dish. A tablespoon of soy sauce.
So this soy sauce isn't actually mentioned in the instructions at all. It's just on the ingredient list, so I don't end up using it.
Some sweet chili sauce. Please forgive me, this isn't the sweet variety, but I think, again, in keeping with the Oriental theme, This will do just fine. Some vegetable broth, just a clove of garlic, so this is a little too much. A tablespoon of chopped ginger. I'm just gonna reuse the ginger I had from the sushi. A cup of fresh vegetables, and of course 1 to 2 tablespoons of semen. Today's yield is about 1 tablespoon. So basically what you need to do is you need to ready the noodles first, and then we're gonna prepare the semen with the chili sauce and the broth. And then in another pan, we're gonna be lightly frying the garlic and the ginger in some oil before adding a cup of vegetables. We're then gonna add that mixture to the vegetables. And then after a couple minutes, we're gonna add everything to the noodles. So there are several steps to this. This is gonna get really messy, but it's overall pretty simple. Let's do it right now.
Nice pot, respectable. The ancient technique of measured cup, heavenly scissor, was first mastered in the Bronx, a part of ancient China known for its fine cutlery and payday loan sharks. At this point, I'm convinced the noodles are also made of cum. Enough oil to make me re-enlist in the Navy. Low sodium broth for a long, miserable life.
Deep fried southern garlic, y'all, hell yeah!
Red pepper to burn away your shame, you filthy milkmaid. Crank the heat high enough to burn away evidence. Oh, here's the baby batter. Strangled out at 4 a.m., the hour of shame. A struggle. And dangling loosely, like a ball cream flavored ROM hack of Battletoads. Trader Joe's soy sauce, cornerstone of Asia's refugees in a land reveling in an endless cycle of financial hatred with pride. Ooh, veggies, it's so healthy! That's my fresh quota for the week. How nice. Balanced with a concoction of spice, salt, and the custard of creation milked lovingly from cum streamer Enrico Zenitani. Bubble, bubble, nut in trouble. Jizzy vegetables, cummy noodles, and a cleanup nightmare.
I'm still puzzling over where that soy sauce was supposed to be. So here's the dish. Initial thoughts is that I think it came out okay. I don't know how the hell I'm supposed to ever taste cum in this because the cum I cooked with everything else, so isn't it just going to be overpowered by everything? Okay, let me take my first bite of just the noodles. I have been sloshing them around to make sure that they get as much coverage. Huh. Again, you could fault me for using the spicy chili sauce instead of the sweet chili sauce, but even so, these flavors don't mesh well together. Also, I can't taste the fried cum. Well, maybe I can. Usually, when I order this kind of dish at a Chinese food place, I don't feel like my throat is as lubricated. But with this one, it goes down pretty easy. I'm pretty sure that's not the cum. I'm sure that's just the oil, but even so, the fact that I thought that to begin with, yeah, I don't know, this recipe itself, I say needs some work. Again, I'm not faulting the recipe book for this because, you know, I'm not going strictly by the book. I am like veering here and there with some of the ingredients. Now, you ever like open the fridge and you have just like little bits and pieces of dishes here and there? So as a lazy meal, you just decide to cobble them together. That's what this tastes like. I wish I could taste the cum. I'm not getting that hearty feeling that I usually get with the meaty dishes either, where it's like altogether satisfying, because this is just carbs too. This might be the first dish I'm actually a little disappointed in. I had higher hopes for this as one of the few oriental dishes in the book. But yeah, no, it's like none of the flavors are blending together for me in my mouth, and I don't taste the cum, and I'm actually very disappointed in that. Seriously, a whole tablespoon for nothing. It's not awful. Obviously, I'm still going to finish all this after the fact because I don't like wasting food. I'm actually so sad as I'm eating this. I'm getting more and more sad. I don't know what it is. It's like it's not hitting me on any level either. It's not satisfying on any level. Like a post-cum kind of feeling, unfulfilling. Taste, unfulfilling. The visual appeal, very unfulfilling because you can't even tell that there's cum in this, you know? What's the point? Man. I mean, they can't all be winners, and as Paul said, I'm allowed to be critical.
I give the noodles a 5 out of 10 in difficulty, 4 out of 10 in taste, and a 10 out of 10 apologies to Paul for not going by the book. I am so sorry, Paul. I really hope you can forgive me.
So for this recipe, what you need is some chicken, a medium-sized parsnip. I got an entire bag because they didn't have anything else. Some carrots, 1 leek or onion, some celery, bay leaves, and tablespoons of semen. You'll notice that it's empty right now because if you've ever made chicken soup before, it takes a while to make, so I want to add the semen fresh to the broth. What we're going to do is we're going to add all the veggies and the chicken to some boiling water, let it simmer for a couple of hours until the meat falls off the bone, strain the broth so that you can remove the chicken from the bone. It's like what I did before, but a lot more complicated because I'm making the chicken soup from scratch this time, for no other reason than going on my way to do something that probably doesn't require this much effort. Anyway, let's get to boiling.
We are in the prime age of VTuber content. Our VTuber chicken soup. Good evening, everyone. I'm Blythe with a VT, lifelong human in VTuber. I am eager to talk to you all tonight about the current state of our industry, where we are, where we've been, and where we are going. In this room, I look out are working day and night to discover the true meaning of base of our VTubers, enhancing our enjoyment of this is the lifeblood of our content. This ever-growing discourse, live internal competition, happening everywhere across all platforms, between all features, apexers, ASMR, untamed podcasters, constantly improve and perform at a higher level, day in and day on content, that this can burst at any moment now. Breaking our walls, it just has to, not knowing what will happen when it ends, or if it was worthless, and endless and pointless time to a boring, normal chicken soup doing this all for nothing.
Blythe, what the fuck was that?
So I've had a lot of time to reflect in the time it took to boil this chicken. My initial thought is, I don't see the semen strings anywhere. It was so easy for me to see it last year when I did this with canned chicken noodle soup, but for this I'm not seeing it at all, so I might have to actually drink this entire broth in one go. Let's see how this tastes, starting with the chicken skin. Okay, the chicken is nicely cooked. Obviously do not taste any of the semen just yet, and we're here mostly for how the chicken broth affects the semen taste, or vice versa. So let's just slurp the broth right now. Oh, that's so good. It's like I keep saying, high-fat food goes so well with semen. The chicken itself, as I'm eating it, I can't really taste the semen at all, to be honest, with the chicken. But with the broth, you can... Oh, wait, I definitely see one. Hold on. Wow, why is that so clumpy? That's the clumpiest wad of semen I've ever had in my mouth. At first, I thought it was like a piece of fat from the chicken, but no, it was like translucent. And as it sat in my mouth, it kind of did this weird thing. You ever have popping boba? It was almost like that, where you kind of apply like light pressure to it and it explodes in your mouth. That was interesting. Let's just keep drinking this. High-fat foods, comfort foods. I'm like thinking, these words are just like springing to mind right now because I just feel like any kind of like soup with semen would go really, really well. While you're cooking too, just come directly in the pot, skip the middleman. You don't need to measure that shit. I only saw that one string too. Maybe the rest of it just kind of melted, but that was definitely a very strong wad of jizz. Is that one on top of it? No, that's celery. I'm like getting paranoid now. I'm like observing every little distinct color in this bowl. It's really not bad. It's more just a matter of, does it add anything? And I would say kind of. I'm not too wild by this. It is nourishing. It does feel good to consume it. It does feel extra good to consume it after having done what I just did to acquire the ingredients. Very, very nourishing, but overpowered by everything else. Not going to stop me from eating the rest of it, though. Oh, wait, no. Oh, God, no. I could definitely taste it. Huh. It has kind of a... maybe... I don't think my load was any good this time around. It tastes kind of metallic. Good for a hearty meal. I'm seeing a string here, but probably better with more loads. So, invite a friend.
I give the chicken a 6 out of 10 in difficulty. It's not hard, it just takes fucking forever. A 5 out of 10 in taste, and a 7 out of 10 needed more semen strings.
Can you tell me about some of the unpleasant parts of publishing this book?
I had to take down the forum. Can you guess why I had to take it down? I was spending about 2 to 3 hours every night, after my day job, deleting dick pics. I want a semen discussion. I don't want dick pics. And they weren't the most beautiful ones if I had to. This is not what I want to be doing in my life. I also almost abandoned this project when I was being chased by a journalist from a magazine called Butt Magazine. It's a magazine for a gay audience, sort of a segment of the gay audience. And the journalist there, this is many years ago, they were like, hey, yeah, let's do an interview. And I was like, I don't want to do it. I want to be anonymous. And I'll come by and visit you. I'm like, no. I was like, I'm getting chased by a journalist from Butt Magazine. But I mean, it's mainly been fun. I've gotten some response like, oh yeah, and the semen, either that it's treated as something holy and oh, this is so precious and you can't treat it like an ingredient. I think that's doing a disservice for semen in the kitchen. And also, obviously, I mean, treating semen as if it was something, a waste product. For the sauces, because like you're using raw eggs, you're using some other ingredients that people could be like, oh, should you actually be eating this? Treat the semen as a food. A precious one, because there's not a lot of it. And also be careful with, as before, acid is not, it's tricky for the sauces. Follow the steps, like follow the recipe. Because you don't want the semen to curl or coagulate or anything like because of the acids or because you heated it up too much.
If you've been here from the beginning, then you're already well aware of how this recipe is made. What we need is 3 egg yolks. Fucking stay, goddammit. 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, a half a cup of cold butter, which is actually 8 tablespoons, which is that entire bar pretty much, and of course, some fresh semen. Today's yield, unfortunately, is only half a tablespoon because I'm fucking tired as hell. Paul makes a bit of a distinction here. Normally in the saucepan, you would mix the egg yolks, the semen, some water, and the lemon juice. But if you want to enhance the flavor of the semen, what you can actually do is, in a later step, add the semen with the butter to the yolk mixture. So that's what we're going to do instead.
Hi everyone, my name is Servo and I've been a professional semen chef for 25 years. I'm the head chef over at Semenzanos in New York City. Today, I'm going to be providing commentary on Enrico's Semen Cookbook, specifically the hollandaise sauce creation you see right now. You know, being a professional semen chef for 25 years has its ups and downs, certainly. However, seeing the technique that I see right here by Enrico is truly flawless. Only thing I would do is add more semen. Good job mixing around the mixture with the spatula. And here we go, and we want to go ahead and add a hot load of butter. Fantastic work right there. Now, with that hot load of butter, make sure we give it a nice tap, a nice spanking. Give that hot load of butter a spanking, but only thing I would do right here is add more semen. Now we're going to run it off into a jar. Fantastic shot of your cat, and I absolutely love it. Truly majestic. Now, we messed up a little bit on the eggs. We're going to save it right here. Fantastic job. Go ahead and save it with that hollandaise sauce. Fantastic. 9 out of 10. Only thing I would do is add more semen.
So even though this is my second time making this, I still somehow stupendously screwed it up. The sauce looks about the same as how I made it almost a year ago. So I know in the previous version of this, I had a lot more options to try with, but with this one, I really just want to focus on the sauce itself, since I did properly make it this time, which is why I don't particularly mind that I screwed up the eggs here too. Oh my goodness gracious. Yeah, this is, I get all sorts of memories coming back to me right now. God, I remember how I was a year ago when I first started making these videos. So naive about how things would turn out, not realizing that people would soon know me for one thing and one thing only. Let's see how it is. I'm very hopeful because the first time I tried this, it was quite good. It's hard to screw this kind of thing up. So let's try it out. And once again, it's actually really not that bad. I used a lot more butter this time around, so I'm getting more of that. I taste it too. I become so inured to all this that whenever I taste it now, I'm just like, oh, there it is. Cool, moving right along. So as you can see, this one has a healthy dose of the cum hollandaise. One of the threads of my mask just got in my mouth and I think I swallowed it. Oh man, this sauce is so good. It's like the balance of like the fattiness of the egg and the citrus flavor of the lemon juice, as well as like that undercurrent of the semen. Really, it's a really good balance. Once again, I am endorsing the cum hollandaise. This is really good. See, I'm just getting like little morsels of egg whites, but I'm mostly just trying to spoon up the cum hollandaise because this shit is so good. Oh my god, it's so like, there are some bites that are so like flavorful and buttery. Sorry, I kind of choked on some of the semen. Something about that very rich aftertaste of the semen really brings out both the butter and the egg. And what better way to try all three flavors at once than with some hollandaise sauce? So Paul says for a richer semen flavor, you add it with the butter, as I did in this version rather than the one I did last year. I think I added it a little too soon because it's still a little lumpy in my mouth. If you want a little bit more sweetness, add a little bit more of the lemon juice. If you want less lumps, then add the semen to the initial yolk mixture at the very beginning. Again, I'm a fan. I really, really enjoyed all this. Did I have that the entire time? No, you know what? Lean into it. That's how much I enjoyed this. I didn't even notice I was making a fucking mess.
I give the hollandaise a 3 out of 10 in difficulty, 10 out of 10 in taste, and another 10 out of 10. Just fucking pour that shit all over my face. Holy fuck, it's so good.
So for this recipe, it really doesn't get any simpler. What we need is a cup of ketchup, 3 tablespoons of honey and or molasses, a tablespoon of lemon juice, and just a dash of hot pepper sauce. Instead of that, I'm going to just try some of my favorite hot sauce, which is some Pain is Good habanero. I fucking love this brand. Please sponsor me. I know you probably don't want to be associated with whatever the hell I'm doing right now. And of course, a tablespoon of semen. This recipe is so simple, in fact, that we're going to make it here right now. All you have to do is blend all those ingredients together. First goes the semen. It's nice and fresh, so it's still in a single lump. A cup of ketchup, which is a fucking lot. I forgot to mention too, today's yield is a tablespoon of semen, so it's plentiful and we're gonna taste it. Oh God, you probably can't see it from here, but something about the image of the ketchup and the semen together is really, really unsettling. 3 tablespoons of honey, and I'm just gonna reuse the shot glass here. Oh my God, that's a lot. Okay, all right. That should be fine. I put in the same shot glass just so any dregs of jizz are still, that are still in there definitely get scooped up. And then lastly, a tablespoon of lemon juice. We're gonna slowly mix all these together. I say slowly, not because of any kind of chemical process or anything, but because I probably should have picked a bigger bowl to mix this in. And then finally, we're gonna add a little bit of hot sauce. Just a tiny dash, yep. I'll blend that in just a little. I think it's ready. My initial thought is you could kind of see the clumps in this. The semen does not blend with the rest of the ingredients on this list. It is very clearly in the middle there. It's just like retaining its own shape compared to the liquids around it. So for all intents and purposes, I know where to aim while I'm eating this. You might be wondering what I'm gonna be eating with this. Paul recommends brushing this on chicken or other meat during the final 10 minutes of grilling. Honestly, the only time I'm ever eating barbecue sauce is when I'm having like McDonald's chicken nuggets. My local supermarket did not have any Dino Nuggies, unfortunately, so I settled for the next best thing, which was this pack of Kid Cuisine that had some all-star nuggets. So yeah, we're gonna try some of the semen special sauce with some of these little nuggets as part of the Kid Cuisine. Again, I'm not afraid of trying this. It's more that like I wish it was less apparent. Like I stirred the shit out of this. I wish it was less apparent where the semen is, but you could very clearly see it in the middle. And that's where I'm gonna aim with this chicken nugget. Yep. Uh-huh. Oh, good Lord. Okay, I think I got all of it actually because I don't see the lumps anymore. Let's try this out. Actually, let me get a lot more. There we go. Okay. Bon appetit. Okay, this is not me knocking the Pain is Good hot sauce because like I said, I fucking love Pain is Good. Oh my God, you could see sorry, I got distracted by how there was like very clearly a semen string just like twirling off my fork just now. But I probably could have picked a better hot pepper sauce. All that said though, this sauce is fantastic. It's got the perfect amount of sweetness. I can't say that I really taste the semen, or maybe I do, but it's kind of overpowered by the sweetness of the ketchup and the honey. But at the end of the day, still can enjoy the visual appeal of how much stickier this barbecue sauce is compared to others. Oh, yeah, no, that's really good. I think maybe just that one that I saw earlier was the only major clump because I'm not seeing, oh wait, I'm seeing like little strands here and there. I genuinely cannot taste the semen though. Maybe it's the spiciness of the hot sauce that is kind of overpowering everything, because this is actually ostensibly the first food I'm trying that's both spicy and has semen. So I'm wondering if like stuff that's too spicy kind of negates the flavor of semen. Everything else I've had before this did not have this much of a kick to it. I'm having fun playing around with this little pool of barbecue sauce too. Oh my god, that is very... I mean, I make jokes, but that could very easily just be, you know, the honey and the ketchup. No, that's definitely jizz. That's definitely my jizz. I'm like so hungry right now though, so I'm not gonna stop eating. Oh fuck, I dropped it in there. Hold on, one at a time. I'm so sad they didn't have Dino Nuggies too. This is satisfying, but because I'm eating a processed food right now, it doesn't really have that, like, you don't really feel sustained while eating it. So I would recommend eating this with just meat that you're cooking over the grill, as Paul actually suggests, as I should have done, but I was too lazy. I'm gonna really be paying attention next time I get some like nuggets from McDonald's or something and with a side of barbecue sauce to see if it's actually this clumpy. I mean, look at that. Look at how runny that is. That's jit. I'm like one of those nerds who collects different hot sauces and stuff because most food is bland to me unless it's like fiery hot. But I would say pick a hot sauce on the side of mild more than scorching hot like I'm used to.
I love baseball.
So if you want barbecue sauce with the texture of semen, this is a recipe for you. There's a squirrel outside my window just staring at me.
I give the barbecue sauce a 2 out of 10 in difficulty, 7 out of 10 in taste, and 8 out of 10. Pretty fun to play with and kind of stare directly into if you want to reflect on what you've done.
So for this sauce, what we need is 1 head of garlic, 2 egg yolks, juice from a single lime, 1.5 cups of quality olive oil, some sea salt, 1 to 2 tablespoons of water, and of course, 1 to 3 tablespoons of fresh semen. Today's yield is unfortunately only half a tablespoon. So first we need to grind down that garlic with a pinch of sea salt. Not really a smooth paste, but it'll have to do. And now for the raw egg yolks. This little yolk separator has been through so much. I feel so bad for it in a way. Looking back, why didn't I just put the garlic in a grinder? What's wrong with me? My cat is behind me right now, just staring at me, wondering what I'm doing. So slowly, drop by drop, we're gonna add 1.5 cups of olive oil while stirring constantly. I don't really have a good visual of what 1.5 cups is. I could use another measuring cup, but I'm lazy, so. Right now it's at about 1/4, so we need to go up to here. Yeah. Drop by drop. I don't really know. Okay, not looking too bad. Looks more like a mango puree more than anything else. Paul says that when it gets thicker, you can add more at a time, but thanks to the size of the garlic, it's already pretty thick. Can I actually hold back in the olive oil now? Because I feel like that's a lot. Is it really 1.5 cups? It is 1.5 cups. This is gonna be nothing but olive oil if I keep going. I haven't even reached a cup yet. Okay, yeah, it is thickening some. So I guess this is crucial. I just feel like this is such a waste of olive oil. Because you guys know I'm not going to save this sauce for after. It's for this one taste test and that's it. Okay, I'm not adding more after this. This is way too much fucking olive oil. So, and then when it gets thicker, we add 1 to 2 teaspoons of water. There you go. Mix it some more. And then add even more olive oil, actually. Yeah, no, it's starting to lose its tension. Let's add just a little bit more olive oil. Aside from the chunkiness of the garlic, I'd say that's pretty authentic. And then last but not least, we're gonna add the lime and then the semen. Just, why are you not giving me juice? I've never had this much of a problem with the lime. Please give me more. I don't just want raw eggs and garlic. Oh, for fuck's sake, why aren't you giving me... Okay. So we're gonna stir that in, as well as the semen. Yep. Oh, delicious. Look at that. I think that's ready for plating. Oh, Jesus, it's so chunky. So I obviously didn't make it right. I still think it'll taste good. It'll still have I mean, aside from presentation, I followed the recipe. I like the little foam formations on the top, either from the lime or the semen, because it just looks like a bunch of little like conglomerations of land trying to unite as one. It's beautiful. So you might be wondering what I'm gonna eat with this, because I'm not gonna fucking like, it's not gonna drink this on its own. I've never had I've never had lime aioli before, but I think it goes well with some boneless chicken nuggets from the freezer. Paul also said to not rush this recipe because you need some time to let the egg absorb into the oil. So let's try it with one of these boneless nuggets. Yeah, I'm sure it'll be great. So I'm gonna very cautiously dip it because I couldn't get this one separated from the other. I hope it doesn't actually fall in entirely on its own. Oh, that's good. It can't possibly be that bad. Oh shit, oh crap, it fell in. Well, maybe I'll actually try this one. Really absolutely drenched in the flavor of the lime aioli. Am I even saying that correctly? I don't even fucking know. You could sense that quiver in my voice because I suddenly got very scared. Every time feels like the first time. There are so many garlic chunks in the bottom. Alright. I was about to say bon voyage, bon appetit. Oh god, my nose. There's way too much garlic. How do you expect to taste the semen in this at all? Oh, Paul is right. Yeah, if you want to taste the semen, use way less garlic because this is... Oh, so this is not good. But again, no fault of Paul's because I just suck at making stuff. Maybe if I just lightly dip it instead and take a little tiny... Because that was like drenched in the sauce. What if I just like lightly dip it so I just get a hint of everything, hopefully? Yeah. I just taste olive oil and jizz. This is not good. This is really not good. Oh shit, am I blocking my mic this whole time? It's like I really have to suppress any urge to actually talk because I just taste the garlic everywhere every time I breathe. Usually that would be with the semen, but with this one it's with the garlic and it's not good. Oh god, it's dripping everywhere too. How? Where? My fingers? The fork? Yeah, I'm sorry. This was a flop. This was not good. Again, completely my mistake. Too much garlic. Didn't prepare the garlic correctly. Way too much olive oil. I should have had some better sense than to add more. And not enough lime. Yeah, I'm gonna quit while the going's good. Oh, for God's sake. Oh, why do I do this to myself?
I give the lime aioli a 7 out of 10 question mark in difficulty. Why is there so much olive oil? Am I just wrong about that? 0 out of 10 in taste. It's just olive oil. And 1 out of 10. It's just olive oil. So with how much this book is talked about online, why is it that you don't really have that much of an online presence?
I suck at marketing. I had some friends who were all into that and they helped me with the YouTube channel and I had a Twitter account. And then the website, I forgot to renew the domain, so somebody bought it. I didn't maintain it anyways. Once the first steps were taken, I couldn't do it myself. I wasn't interested in keeping it alive, so to speak. I just thought it was fun and interesting to publish it and get the idea out there and let people do whatever they want to do with it and enjoy it. Even my email, after a while, I was like, oh, this is feeling like a job. And then I lose interest in it. And then when I did the semenology, the mixology book, then it was fun, again, making a book and taking the photos and experimenting. I probably would have sold a lot more books if I would be better at marketing. There should be another cookbook on only desserts. Usually there's a lot of fats in desserts, obviously fat and sugar, and semen pairs perfectly with both of them. The most difficult one was the crepes. It's crepes, but you remove one egg and use semen instead. First of all, like, it's hard to get that much semen. You have to store it. And then I was nervous because, you know, I'm going to make this now. And if I fuck it up, it's going to be a major difficulty to try it again. I guess this is where it's important to actually be careful and actually measure and be careful of the heat as well, because the proteins in egg whites, the semen can turn nasty if you fuck it up.
Paul, I am so sorry in advance.
All right, we're doing this. So for this recipe, we need 1 cup of flour, 3 eggs, 1 cup of milk, a half a tablespoon of salt, and 2 tablespoons of melted butter. And for the filling, what you'll need is half a cup of cottage cheese, a 1/3 cup of melted butter, a 1/4 cup of powdered sugar, and 2 tablespoons of semen. Although, unfortunately, today's yield is only about just enough for 1 tablespoon. You're going to blend all the ingredients for the crepe together and then cook it over a skillet. And then while you're doing that, we're going to make all the ingredients for the filling and then we're going to serve immediately. First baking recipe, let's do this.
I literally had to get a drink in order to prepare myself for watching this video. I was really surprised when Emily asked me to participate in this video because I'm really much just like a background character, and besides being the cum guy, Enrico is a very, very funny guy, and frankly with lots of very, very funny people, and I'm thinking, what the fuck am I meant to do? So I figured I would just aggressively love Emily from a distance through this video. Wait. Oh, it gets worse. It does. It gets worse. I gag every time I've watched this because of the cottage cheese, not because there's cum in this. Like, I just... Oh, it's D&D. The Last Dandelion. I just wanted to just... his face, so cute. Anyway, besides Enrico ignoring every offer of help, he's such a wonderful human and I love him so dearly. I thought this was the best... I don't know why he thought to go with cottage cheese, because cottage cheese just looks like cum that's gone curdled from being in the sun for too long. And I want to know at what part he looked at this video and questioned everything that he's been doing. I'm actually very proud of him for doing this entire video.
Okay, so they're not exactly crepes, but I think I got the overall spirit down. Wouldn't you say? I'm gonna go for the thinnest one first. Actually, they're not. I guess I'm gonna go for the smallest one first, I meant to say. None of them are thin. There's a hair in that cottage cheese. So we've had semen with sugary foods before, as in the drinks. I don't know what to expect from this, because I just assume the fattiness from the crepe itself will overpower everything. I'm not letting any of this go to waste. This was too much effort for me not to eat all this throughout the day, unfortunately. So let's try it out. If I got the crepe down, this would be amazing. I don't taste the semen, but I think that's more to do with my yield. Maybe if I keep eating, I can taste more of it. My face mask keeps slipping every time I move my mouth, so I gotta take like really small nibbles. You could kind of taste it just a little bit. It kind of corresponds with the sweetness in a way where it's almost like the more you taste the sweetness, the more you can also taste that smell that you get from semen. I guess my quality semen today was not that good, if only because usually it's sweet. Today it's got that chlorine kind of smell and taste to it. It's really more of like a pancake more than anything else. So I think after I'm done eating this one, I'm gonna like flatten these and just eat it with a fork and a knife. Paul makes mention that the semen is gonna be very subtle in this one, and it's absolutely true. I can only taste it for like a split second when I'm really savoring the filling. Hold on, I'm just eating like the bits of the filling now. There are some dishes in this where I feel like you could kind of neglect following a certain diet and still appreciate the nuances of semen. And there are other dishes where you definitely want that very controlled, almost sweet taste from semen. This is definitely one of those dishes. You're gonna really wanna watch your diet if you wanna maximize the flavor of the semen in your cum crepes. Crepes themselves, I could have done better. I acknowledge this. But for the filling, It's sweet, it's strong, it punches you right out the gate. And then sometimes, only sometimes, you get a reminder of what's in it. I guess that's kind of the tone for all the recipes in this book, really. You just get a reminder that it's there sometimes. As in any dish, like one ingredient shouldn't overpower everything else. It should be working in concert. But you expect it to. And the fact that it doesn't adds a hint of pleasantness to it. So, yeah. That's definitely my jizz.
I give the crepes a 15 out of 10 in difficulty, an 8 out of 10 question mark in taste. Just pretend I did it properly. And 5 out of 10, I watch back this recipe and I seem so normal and not even fazed by what I'm doing anymore, and I think I've honestly lost my mind from doing these for a straight month.
So the cum cream caramel, it looks intimidating if you look at the recipe. But if you manage to pull off the hollandaise sauce, you have no problem doing this. Actually, I'm going to keep an eye on you. And if you fuck up on this, I'm going to make fun of you.
Oh, good God, I am so excited to work on this one. So for this one, we need to make both the custard and the chocolate sauce that sits on it. So to make the custard, what you need is a cup of sugar. I'm just going to reuse the light brown sugar from previous recipes. That shouldn't matter too much, right? The fact that it's light brown sugar as opposed to just sugar. 3 tablespoons of water, 1.5 cups of whipping cream, half a cup of milk, 3 large egg yolks, and 1 large egg. And in order to make the chocolate sauce, what you need is 3/4 cup of whipping cream, 1 cup of semi-sweet chocolate, and a teaspoon of vanilla. And of course, a tablespoon of fresh semen. Today's yield is indeed a tablespoon. So first what we're going to do is we're going to make the custard first in a saucepan and then in the oven. And then we're going to make the chocolate sauce separately. And then once both are done, we're going to serve them together. So let's try this. I'm really excited to replicate the image on the cover.
So something that really stands out to me as somebody with a cooking background is in comparison to like Paula Deen or even Barefoot Contessa, Emerald Lagasse, Bobby Flay, Maddie Matheson from Vice, Enrico just isn't any good at this. But he can beat eggs, so that's great. We're off to a great start. Here, Enrico is fulfilling his ploy to eradicate hummingbirds with diabetes, because the birds work for the bourgeoisie. So he's going to put that in a separate cup for later. Now we're going to put the milk into the pan, and we are going to absolutely annihilate it and start making our scrambled egg milk stir fry concoction. If your cum looks like this, I highly recommend calling a doctor, but I'm not a doctor. I only stayed at a Holiday Inn Express last night. Especially if it has stringy eggs coming out of it. Definitely don't recommend that. Okay, great. So we're going to put the chocolate chips in and the heavy whipping cream, and we're going to make a chocolate sauce. And it looks really good. Also, have you guys ever thought, like, whatever happened to Gus from Matilda? Is he okay? Okay, so we're putting that in the oven, and now we're putting some of the chocolate sauce on the side. And my intrusive thoughts are telling me to grab that straight out of the oven. Grab it. Touch it. Do it. That actually doesn't look that bad. I'd probably eat the fuck out of that. Okay, so now we are going to put that in for about 60 minutes and let it set. As you can see, it's been 60 minutes. So now we're going to pull that back out, and there you go. Almost. Get your finger in there. Also, I see all of you rewinding and rewatching that part, you perverts. Okay, so now we're going to add some of the bird poison and some rat shit, and voila, there you go. Bone apple teeth.
Looks just like the cover photo, right? I don't even know if this is edible. I look at this and I'm just like, oh right, this is a video about eating my own cum. This is awful. I am so sorry to the baking world. This like physically hurts me to even just look at it. I tried with this one too. I actually did try. It's only supposed to be a little bit of chocolate sauce too, and this is just like mostly chocolate sauce at this point, because the rest of the caramel custard, quote unquote, has just completely fucking melted. Okay, let's try it anyway. That is some really good chocolate. I was like hoping I'd be able to recreate this perfectly to like match the cover photo, but I think that's never gonna happen, honestly. I'm just so bad at cooking and baking. Oh, the custard tastes good though. I think it was like a good amount of not having the chocolate on it too, so the flavors on it were really, really nice. Like not too sweet either. The chocolate sauce makes up for the lack of the sweetness for the custard. As you can tell, I've been watching a lot of Great British Bake Off lately. You can blame my very highfalutin way of talking on that show. If I actually tried, this would taste good, okay? I choose to believe that. I know I'll never be able to actually achieve that myself, but like I choose to believe. It's like you know, Jack and Rose at the end of Titanic. They could have had a great romance together, but Jack unfortunately passed away, so we'll never know actually. That is the clunkiest metaphor I just came up with off the top of my head. That's some really good chocolate. I'm sure, again, like any of these sweet dishes, it relies on the subtlety of semen more than the actual outright flavor of it. This chocolate sauce is the showstopper, everybody. I went into this wanting to eat some cum caramel and came out of it just drinking some chocolate sauce. And for that, I do apologize.
I give that chocolate sauce a 7 out of 10.
The chocolate cream eclair. This one you can play with it because in the recipe it says, oh, add some semen to the actual cream. I would skip that because it's kind of wasteful. And just skip that and just use the semen exclusively for the glaze. Because honestly, I've already said it before, but honestly, the magic of melted semen and powdered sugar and whisk the hell out of it, it's beautiful.
So for this recipe, what you need is a half a cup of flour, a half a teaspoon of sugar, a quarter teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 cup of butter, 2 large eggs, very stiffly whipped cream, some water, and of course, some semen. Just looking at the process for this, I already feel defeated knowing the last 2 things I made, but we're really gonna try this, okay? First, we're gonna make the choux pastry, and then we're gonna make the cream with the semen, and we're gonna see how it tastes. Oh, for the love of God, I'm so sorry in advance.
Welcome to the Great British... No, not gonna have any great baking here today. Sorry about that. Dry ingredients. Why are you using a frying pan? I'm sure it should be a saucepan, but I am not a baker. I'll just watch all at once. Okay. Non-stick spatula. Good start. Why does it look like that? It looks like glue. You have not cooked the flour enough. Why is it wet? Should it be wet? Egg off the heat. Won't turn into scrambled egg, hopefully. Okay. It looks very wet. Should it look like this? Preheat the oven. Why are you using your hands? You should be using a piping bag. What are you going to do with that bit? Right, so cream, sugar, semen. This will be simple. Measuring the cream. Manual whisking. Where's the other cream? Pastry in the oven. Sugar. Where's the other cream? And where's the special ingredient for those? Yeah, those. Just attack it with a knife, I'm sure it'll be fine. Absolutely fine. They're going to be easy to fill, aren't they? There you go. Okay.
Okay, you know what? All things considered, not that bad, considering the last 2. There's at least some shape to these eclairs. I mean, I should have put them in the oven sooner so that they didn't flatten like this, but even so, they're still edible. And this whipping cream, I was just genuinely baffled with this. I probably put too much powdered sugar in this. I'm sorry if this whole dessert section seems like I'm intentionally trying to botch everything. I'm really not. Like, I'm actually trying with all this stuff. I just don't have an eye for this, or just my attention span is not that good. So there was a step I was missing before I presented these 2. I'm supposed to split these eclairs and fill them up with the with the cream, obviously. But I can't do that, obviously, because these are just biscuits. So what I'm going to do instead is just, I'm going to dunk these. Yeah, I'm going to dunk these like biscuits. And I'm going to start with the only eclair, quote unquote, that actually stayed together when I tried to slide it off the sheet. So, yeah, let's give it a try. My initial thought is, how the fuck are you going to taste the cum in this? Oh, wow. Actually, you know, again, I'm actually proud of myself. I couldn't get the cream to whip properly, and so I improvised, and it somewhat worked, okay? You can't deny that. The bar is very low. Let's give it a try. I'm going to dunk this with as much cream as possible. See if this is any good. Oh, that is so good, actually. Oh my God. I was about to say wafer. The eclair itself is actually really, really good. Really nice texture. The cream seems a little too thick. I don't know anything about whipping creams, but the one I chose probably was a little too thick for the purposes of this video. But even so, it's not that bad. I don't even taste the powdered sugar that I added. I don't taste the cum either, obviously. It's like the wafer itself too is very light and airy. The butter of the dough and the thickness of the cream are the star elements here, and I just don't see how semen would add anything to this, actually. That is actually quite delectable. This might just be another instance of you need a lot of semen in order to, because I don't think Paul specifies in the recipe how much semen you should use. You need a lot of it in order to get kind of even an undertone of it, because, you know, I only used about a tablespoon, and it's completely undetectable here. Like, I would say the clinginess to the throat would be a factor, but like, because I'm getting that right now, but that's just from the whipping cream. Or is it? I don't know. Okay, if I actually tried this, you know, with the cream and the chocolate glaze, I would have fucking knocked it out of the park, okay? That's the stupidest thing you could say. If I actually did this properly, then you would be amazed. But I didn't do it properly. I don't know why I even said that. This is really good. I'm enjoying eating it this way too. I feel like a kid eating like those Nilla wafers and just like a lot of whipped cream. That's exactly what I feel like right now. Except, you know, this one has a hint of my own cum in it. Normally I would be disappointed, but I'm actually just so happy that after 2 absolute fucking disasters, that I was able to actually make something that holds shape. So I consider this a success. If you don't, then fuck you, you're shallow. I'm gonna drink the rest. I'm drinking it straight, I don't taste the semen. Still good though.
I give the eclairs a 20 out of 10 difficulty, 20 out of 10 taste, and another 20 out of 10. In an alternate universe, I would know how you're able to whip cream, and this would have been so much better.
Camera, what are you doing? Why aren't you focusing? So for this fun little snack, what you need is half a cup of sugar, 3 cups of pecans or other savory nuts, 3 tablespoons of melted butter, and of course 1 to 2 tablespoons of fresh semen. Today's yield is about 1 tablespoon. What we're gonna do is preheat the oven to 350, and then for several minutes put the melted butter in the oven with the pecans. And then after they've like slightly browned, we're gonna combine the semen and the sugar, and then we're gonna slowly drizzle them over the pecans and let them bake some more. So let's do that.
Alright, so we've got our pan to get all nice and greased up and lubed for our pecans. Always lube generously. Slap them pecans down on there, and don't forget to give them a friendly little tussle for some extra flavor and morale. We'll shove them babies in that 350 oven for those many minutes. Measure with your heart. Mix in that special secret sauce with your sugar, which I imagine is probably hard to do. Don't worry about the clumps. That's where the flavor is stored. It's very important. Little pockets. Whack it back in the oven to become one with the sauce, and look at that. Isn't that beautiful?
So now that I've plated it, it doesn't really look that bad. I got like this buttery, sugary kind of aroma that's just filling this entire room. It's fucking stifling. I don't know. So I guess like my plan of attack is I'm gonna go for the ones that aren't entirely clumped in sugar, just the ones that are kind of like speckled a little bit, like this one here. Yeah, the giant clumps of sugar could only be from, you know what? Actually, no. Instead of that one, I'm gonna go for one where there was actually a little bit more of a clump of sugar, like this one. Let's give it a try. Can't taste the semen at all, but the sugar and the pecans are really, really good. I could definitely almost taste it a little there. It's an interesting flavor, baked semen, because it doesn't have like the usual dragginess of what you would expect from what I described in the previous dishes pretty much. With this one, in combination with the sugar, it's more of just like you taste it up to a certain point and then it just kind of like drops off, which I guess is a thing. I don't really think it adds much, but then again, I might have had too much sugar in that bite, so let me try one that has only a modest amount of clump sugar. Okay, I can taste it there too. Yeah, it's the same phenomenon. Despite the shit that I'm putting in my mouth, I am somewhat conscious of what I eat. I hesitate to just eat this entire lump of sugar right here, but I'm gonna go for it. For science, yeah. For educational purposes, which is what this video is meant to be for. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but sugar and semen don't really seem to blend together that well for me. There's no like cross-pollination of flavors. It's more just like you get sugar and then you get semen. Up to a certain point, depending on how you prepared it. I'm not sure I get it, honestly. Have you ever had that experience where you're picking something up to drink and like you're expecting it to be like milk, for instance, but then it turns out to be like Sprite? And then you for a split second, you like almost want to spit it out because it's like, oh my God, what is this? Even though it's just Sprite, it's not like it's like anything disgusting or anything. Like your brain was just prepared for something else. I think I'm getting that same feeling with this too. I think like me hyper-focusing on the whatever might taste like semen is kind of pulling me out of the moment of enjoying the totality of the dish, because like I'm struggling to find a semen flavor with this. I don't get it. I just don't get it. Like the sugar and the semen, I don't particularly understand it. I mean, it's good. These are good. These recipes are good. But I suppose this is a lot like the meats where you're more eating this for, you know, the satisfaction of knowing that there's jizz inside of it. Yeah. These were a fantastic snack, seriously. Man, Paul is absolutely right. These are a great party snack for while you're preparing the other semen dishes. Sometimes it tastes like popcorn. Sometimes it tastes like candied apples. Okay, all right. This little pecan with its powdered wig and everything. Let's see if I can taste it here. That is very clearly a clump of semen in that sugar. So let's see what it tastes like. This is so bad for me, but again, for scientific purposes. I didn't even taste the sugar, that one. That's so weird. Does semen actually dampen the flavors of sugar? Is that what happened in that one bite? Clearly, sugar to pecan ratio, very imbalanced. But that's my fault. Once again, everything's just my fault. It's okay. Great snack.
I give the pecans a 4 out of 10 in difficulty, 8 out of 10 in taste, and a 2 out of 10 just because I nearly choked on one shortly after I stopped recording and I almost fucking died.
So what you need for this recipe is half a teaspoon of unflavored gelatin, a 1/4 cup of milk, a 1/4 cup of whipping cream, a half a cup of sugar, a half a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, and 1 to 3 tablespoons of semen. Today's yield is just about 1 tablespoon. So what we're going to do is combine the gelatin with the milk and let it sit for a while. In the meantime, we're going to combine the cream and the sugar and then combine both of those mixtures once they're both done, and then let them solidify in the fridge for a couple hours. What could possibly go wrong?
Alright, so we're gonna watch Enrico Zenitani do some baking. Holy fucking shit, he's stirring the gelatin and the milk together. That's some insane place if I've ever seen one. No one would ever see this ever since Michelangelo invented the Venus. And it's that cream and sugar in the saucepan. Holy fucking shit, he's revolutionizing bacon as it goes. Paul Hollywood would be so bonkers right now. Holy fucking shit. And he's letting it cool down. He's letting it cool down and he's mixing everything together. And he's even putting the semen fucking in. Let's fucking go. Come on in, bring it home. It's all I need. Holy fucking shit. He's so amazing. He didn't even spill it anywhere. Oh, fucking, he's cooling it down. Holy fucking shit. That's the most intense game I've ever fucking seen of baseball, if I've ever watched a sports before. Holy fucking hell.
Okay, nobody in their right mind can fault me for this one. That looks fucking fantastic. Come on. It's nice and smooth, it's got that bounce to it, but does it taste good? Is the question. And more importantly, can I taste the semen and how does it contribute to the overall flavor? It's got some give to it. I can't like puncture it as easily as I thought it would. That's some proper solidified gelatin right there. Oh man, okay. Even before I can bite into it, it smells like cum. It just straight up smells like cum. Not even anything that smells like cum, it just smells like cum. I feel like most people would agree that cum is not the best smelling thing out there. I'm just stalling, let me just try this. Oh my god. Oh, that is so good. Holy crap. You gotta be kidding me. That is delicious. Are you insane? That is so good. I can taste the cum too. And it tastes really good. The flavor, the texture, it's perfect. Like seriously, if there was one dish that I had needed to use in order to evangelize for the book, it would probably be this. This is so good. Like I can taste it too. I can definitely taste it, but it's just like kind of playing around with the sweetness of everything else. There's a piece of cat fur in there. Cool. It's like you get the sweetness of everything and then you get like a little tiny after hint of the semen, but it doesn't faze you in the way it does with other dishes. I don't know if that's just because I have this idea that like maybe heating up semen gets rid of that awful aftertaste where it feels like it's clinging to your throat, because a lot of times it's not actually clinging to my throat, it just feels that way. But with this, you just get like that first initial taste of it and then it just goes away. This is fucking delicious. You get the sweetness of the sugar and the milk and the cream together, and then it's just like it just gently lands on top of the initial semen taste, and then it all just kind of like coalesces together. This is quite good. Try this, everybody. See if you could get what I'm talking about. Man, this is a thing of beauty. A semen recipe that's actually just, you can't deny that this is good. I challenge anybody, actually. Also, I don't know whether to dock points for this, but you could definitely smell it too. The semen. I don't know why that's the flavor that you could smell above everything else. I'm really glad I made this. And I'm really glad I have a second one. I'm about to have dinner right now, so I'm gonna have that as a little dessert after for myself. Sweet dishes after coming, not necessarily as satisfying as like fatty dishes or even meaty dishes, even though the semen doesn't enhance the meat flavor at all. But they're still quite enjoyable in a very, very subtle way. Starting to understand what Paul means about the satisfaction of knowing that it's in there, even if you can't taste it. I could just be a weirdo though. Anyway, moving right along.
I give the panna cotta a fucking 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of 10 out of fucking 10. It's so good. Holy shit. Please make it yourself. I cannot recommend this enough.
So for this recipe, there are two components, the ganache and the coating. For the ganache, you need a generous cup of white chocolate, 1 cup of whipping cream, half a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, which is optional by the way, and of course 1 tablespoon of semen. Today's yield is about a little less than a tablespoon. And for the coating, what you need is a cup of dark chocolate and some cocoa. So first we're gonna make the ganache, we're gonna chill it, and then we're gonna coat it in the dark chocolate. Sounds easy enough.
Yeah, going by volume for ganache isn't great. It's better on a Ben Marie. Hey, Dandy! Okay. Wait, what is that? Oh, that's a panna cotta. I don't know how long you put it in for yet. Just put the pot cream over, let it sit for a few minutes. Yeah, you can put that in. Oh, God. Don't stir so vigorously. And yeah, now you just let it sit for a few hours. And yeah, okay. Then just do it slowly. I'm not really seeing what the settings are, but okay. I'm not sure there should be that much steam or smoking, but okay. the... Okay. But wait, what the? What do you... No. Oh, God. No. What the... What? Stop. Just... No. To put it... No, that's not gonna... That's not gonna save it.
My thinking is that I'm going to actually, instead of eating this like little balls, like Paul intended, I'm going to take a little spoonful of this. Somewhere in there is my jizz, by the way. I'm going to dip it into the solidified dark chocolate that I sprinkled with cocoa because that was supposed to be the coating. It's kind of funny because the texture of this is how I want that to be, and vice versa. Also, I don't know if it's my mask or the ganache, but something smells like a wet sock. Probably the ganache. I think the milk went sour in the 3 days that I had in the fridge. That could very well be the mask, actually. I promise you, my life is in control. So yeah, I'm gonna take a little spoonful of this over this dark chocolate. I hope I don't crack my teeth while eating this thing, because it's so fucking hard. I should chip away at like a little piece of the chocolate first. Is there even any point to eating the dark chocolate, actually? It's just completely burnt. I really tried. Paul, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna have to eat this without the dark chocolate, but you know, truffles are a little too decadent for my flavor palette to begin with. I'm totally not rationalizing here. Whatever, just fucking eat it, who cares? The white chocolate didn't even fully melt. It's just like opening up a bag of white chocolate chips and just shoving it in your mouth. There's no taste of semen there. I'm gonna have real trouble. Oh, hey, oh, there we go. Okay, cool. I'm glad I got that on camera, actually. It conformed to the shape of the bowl. I wonder if I should bother biting into this. I don't want to chip my teeth because it is that hard. Oh, it smells so burnt. What about this side? Oh, that just tastes like tar. Everything's burnt. That's a great sound. That is actually how solid it is. The white chocolate mixed with, I don't remember what's in this, cream? I know semen's in there, but I can't taste it for the life of me because it's so sweet. I mean, it's like solid in the center, but not anywhere around it. I'm a dumbass. I wish there were better instructions for how to freeze these things. If you forget any context, it's almost like I'm just eating ice cream. Extremely sweet ice cream because it's nothing but chocolate. I can't go through all of this. I still stand by my opinion that sweet things and semen don't go well together because you can barely taste anything. Oh, that'd be a great thumbnail, actually, since this is so white. Hold on, I want to get like a good still image for the thumbnail. I need to exaggerate my face a little. Wait, no, I need to have like open space behind me so that in Premiere I can, wait, hold on. Wait, should I eat with this hand, actually? Wait, I need to get it dripping too, hold on. Is that good? I can't tell. I can't tell because my eyes are closed. I wish I had someone behind the camera. What if I exaggerate by smearing on my lips some more? Yeah. What am I doing right now? I wish I could have tasted the actual dish, but I'm incompetent. Good white chocolate though.
I give the truffles a question mark out of 10. I lied, everybody. I didn't actually try with this one. Yeah. So for this recipe, what you need is 8 ladyfinger cookies, 2 teaspoons of sugar, 2 tablespoons of cognac, half a cup of whipping cream, half a cup of mascarpone cheese, a teaspoon of pure vanilla extract, half a cup of espresso. The eagle-eyed among you will realize this is actually just coffee, and 1 to 2 tablespoons
of fresh semen. So first we're gonna let the ladyfingers soak in the semen, the sugar, the espresso, and the cognac. And then once the ladyfingers have fully soaked up the mixture, we're gonna layer them with some mascarpone cheese. It's as easy as that. No baking required. I'm actually just gonna make it right here, in fact. Move all this shit out of the way. This is gonna be our little tub to let the ladyfingers soak. We're gonna add the semen, the sugar, the espresso, and the brandy. Whoa! So they look pretty soaked, so let's pile on the mascarpone cheese. I'm sure I'm supposed to actually mix this with the whipping cream or something, but Paul just forgot to actually add it to the recipe. My rule is I'm not gonna actually do anything unless the recipe book specifically states it. So, oh Jesus Christ, that was a really awful. Oh my God, how do it, can you, I should have used a flatter dish for this so I could apply this better. Please stay on. Please just stay on. Oh, for the love of God, please just stay on. Come on, this is literally the last recipe. Please just cooperate with me. Just one of these dishes, please. Oh my God, it's falling apart. Whatever, I don't... Okay, shit, I swear to God. That's not bad. I've never had mascarpone cheese, by the way, too, so I'm kind of excited to try this. Beautiful. So, of course, as soon as I start, my cat wants to leave the room. Hold on. Come on, Danny. Get out. Okay, so, last dish. I don't know which one to start from. I guess, like I said, the ones in the middle, because they probably got the best mascarpone distribution, and they kept their shape somewhat. I probably should have gotten a fork to eat this with. You know what, fuck it. In true... Oh, God, I do not like cognac. I forgot what I was going to say. In true whatever fashion, I'm just going to eat this with my hands like the fucking disgusting slob that I am. Let's go for it, everybody. Let's see if we can even taste even the slightest bit of semen in this dish. That's one right there. The cognac is so strong compared to everything else, and this entire fucking room smells like vanilla extract now. Even with just that one little teaspoon. Jesus Christ, I can't even fucking... You know what? That's okay. All right. Bottoms up. The cognac. Oh, the cognac is too strong. Oh, God. And it's overly sweet. I can't even taste the mascarpone because the cognac is so strong. Oh, God. I'm like choking on literally everything. Within the, it's like different layers of flavors, but not all at once. Like you get each one individually, little by little. First you get the cognac, but within that cognac flavor you get the espresso? Yeah, espresso, there we go. And then within the coffee you taste all that sugar, and then within the sugar you taste a slight hint of mascarpone. This is not good. Oh, God. Oh, Jesus Christ. Okay, this one got only like half soaked in the mixture. Let's see if that actually made it a little more suitable. I seriously wish I could taste the semen. I can't taste it. Cognac is too strong. Oh. You know, I said yesterday that my life is in control. I can't finish this. I'm going to try to finish at least this one. Yeah, just this one. And then I'm going to fucking... and then I'm going to cry because I'll miss doing these. Probably. Okay, so like let them soak, but not that much, which I guess would be difficult to do because how else are you supposed to get them in there? That was actually not bad. I guess like, okay, because that one was only like halfway inside the mixture. So I guess if you want to do this, only put your ladyfingers like only halfway inside the mixture so that they don't get entirely fucking soaked like mine did. And in that way too, you're able to kind of apply the mascarpone without like it falling apart. Which is to say, that was delicious. I still can't taste any of the semen, but that was delicious. It was like the perfect amount of cognac. It wasn't overwhelming. Like every time I breathe, I could taste fucking fuel. You know, it's very fitting that I realized this on the last dish. I love how I'm holding this like it's a fucking book. With each fucked up rendition of a recipe that I produce, I can kind of taste what could have been. I can kind of taste a better recipe had I tried, or had I just not been so incompetent. Realizing that does actually make me feel very bittersweet that this is all over. But I need to wash my fucking mouth out.
I give that Cavassier a 2 out of 10. Buster Rhymes, you're a fucking liar. That shit tastes awful.
Yay! We did all the recipes in the book, yay! No. Before any of you fuckers come after me and tell me that I didn't do some of the recipes correctly, I challenge you to go through all of them in a month and try to be cohesive throughout. I care more about what Paul thinks about all of this.
I still can't believe you did all the recipes. I think you're crazy. I think you're crazier than I am. I'm so happy you got back to me.
Yeah,
honestly,
absolutely.
When you said you were going to do all the recipes, I was like, we'll see about that. What were your favorites and what were your least favorites?
My favorites were probably literally any of the seafood dishes. The salmon, the tuna sashimi, and the mussels were really, really good too. My least favorite, it's unfair for me to say this because I didn't make them properly, but like the sugar dishes, because like you said, there's like so many other flavors going on, so it was hard for me to pick up on the flavors, and also just because I'm a bad baker. But I still had a lot of fun. There were like a few dishes where I struggled to taste it. I was really trying to like hone in on the semen flavor, and I couldn't really find it in some of them. Did I do something wrong?
No, you did nothing wrong. Basically, if you have a very flavorful dish, it's gonna be masked by it. The semen is lost.
I was like, was it something about like how much I could produce that was the problem?
There's variation, but it's not ever a whole lot.
You say in the book like 1 to 2 teaspoons, and like...
What were you averaging?
Little less than a tablespoon.
Hey, that's not bad at all.
Yay, I provide an adequate amount of semen, yay.
Here now, plug yourself. What do you want to promote?
I just want people to open up to semen as a food. It's a magical fluid, it's a life-giving fluid, and to play with our notions of what is food, what is not edible.
Your semen cosmetics book.
You have to promote that when it's selling so badly.
You should all go support Paul by buying all of his books. I mean, I have all 3 of them. I mean, granted they were gifts, but even so, please go support Paul because he is just a sweetheart. So now that the video is over, I'm kind of lost as to how to end all of this. So I started working on this video in late October of 2022, and I'm just about to finish it around May 2023. And I started this video off, like I said, as a way to kind of put a cap on all this stuff, but it kind of evolved into this fun little passion project where I just really wanted to involve some of my friends and the people in my community. And so I just really want to say thank you to everybody who helped me out with this, especially Giggity. He's the one who made all those cute little animations with Paul, and I just want to really give him a big shout out because he busted his ass for this video. Also, a big thank you to all my friends who provided audio commentary, including Lucy, who, like I said, did all those cute little food illustrations before each recipe. I seriously appreciate the hell out of all of you guys. And I know this video is meant to be one big shit post, but I really did work my ass off for this video, and I hope you found some enjoyment out of this, and I appreciate you watching all the way to the end. And just as a final send-off, I decided to put a little bit of my cum one last time in a Big Mac, just because people in my stream wanted me to, in a White Claw, because they refused to sponsor me, despite how much I talk about them on my stream, and some Cheetos mac and cheese that I got at the supermarket, just because it seemed like a good meme addition. My final yield is only half a tablespoon today because I'm just extremely tired, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this in each of the 3 foods I just mentioned.
So, okay, now fast forward, this is done. The video does fantastically well, and you're like, I'm done with semen. What's next?
What am I gonna do next? I'm just gonna keep streaming. I don't give a shit. I'm done with all this nonsense. Get the fuck out of my face. Jesus. Fucking hell. God damn it. Fucking finally.